let's say good day to you this day of your time. How are you all? All right, all right. Thank you. First and foremost, we will once again, as always, thank each and every one of you and all of you together collectively for the co-creation of this interaction and the allowance of this transmission on this day in this way. Each time you afford us the opportunity to interact with all of you, we get to experience that many more facets of the multidimensional crystal of creation that each of you represent. And so we thank you for the gift of expanding our understanding of all the ways that creation can express itself. We would like to begin this transmission with the title, The Precursors. Now, we have recently sent a transmission talking about the idea of first contact protocols, the stages, the phases that our civilization goes through in contacting another civilization, such as yours. And somewhere on that list, there will usually be the beings that become involved that we refer to as the precursors. What this generally is are beings that are born on your planet, but have had experiences and encounters in such a way so that their genetic markers are slightly altered toward a little bit more expression of the idea of the hybrid beings that you understand to be the children that will ultimately live among you on Earth in the years to come. These beings, these precursors, will wander through your society, some of them understanding who they are, many of them not necessarily understanding who they are, what they are, but they will carry enough of the hybrid frequency so that if you should pass by them or they by you, you will pick up on something that feels a little bit unusual, a little bit different. The idea is that they are, by walking among you, getting you used to the idea of the hybrid vibration, which is actually many times stronger than the frequency they are giving off, but you are getting a flavor, a taste, a hint of that frequency, not only to help you acclimate to that vibration, which ultimately will be living among all of you, but also to gauge your response, your reaction to that energy, to see how it is that you are capable or not of integrating that energy within yourself, and thus using that as a barometer to indicate when you might actually be ready for contact with beings that are a little closer to the idea of the true hybrid vibration. Because as we have said before, the idea is that everyone operates at a certain signature frequency, and if you are not vibrationally compatible with frequencies that may in some sense be a little bit more accelerated, a little bit higher than what might be average or typical on your planet, it can actually cause a little bit of imbalance, a little bit of psychic shock within you, as certain compartmentalized concepts and belief systems within you may, by the higher vibration, be forced to the surface, forced to integrate before you are ready to integrate them in a natural way. So the precursors are giving a little bit of a push, a little bit of an indication of the kind of vibration that you may ultimately be dealing with, but it is first and foremost more important that it act toward your ability to integrate more of yourself, to feel an acceleration within yourself that brings to the surface any belief systems within you in an unconscious way that will exist within your personality structure that might be out of alignment with your true vibration, to give you the time, to give you the opportunity to integrate those things, to deal with those things, to identify them, and to let go of those things that do not work for you, that do not serve you in your life, so that by letting them go, you can add their energy to your overall expansion, your overall excitement, and accelerate and raise the frequency of your vibration to make you more compatible with those beings called the hybrids who will ultimately come to live among you. So there can be a smoother integration, a smoother acclimation, a smoother relationship between you. Does this make sense? Not to all of you? All right. So, sometimes, therefore, even though there aren't that many of them in your overall society, sometimes some of you, now and then, may catch a glimpse out of the corner of your eye, someone standing across the street on a corner that looks like they don't quite belong here, or feels like they don't quite fit in. Now, of course, we understand you have many people on your planet that may give you that sense. But obviously, we are talking about a very specific vibration here. You'll understand it when you perceive it. It will feel like something other than what you're used to. It will seem truly a bit out of place. It won't, in that sense, necessarily be frightening or anything like that, but you may feel yourself, when you may encounter such beings, feeling slightly displaced, slightly disoriented by the vibration. This is usually a sign that you're standing in the vibrational resonance of a precursor. They may hang around a little bit, they may just pass you by. You may not even see them physically, but you may suddenly find that strange little disorientation, that strange little dizziness that suddenly places your mind elsewhere, suddenly gets you to start thinking about the idea of places other than your own world. These are usually the symptoms of close proximity to a precursor. The idea, again, is that should that happen, should you have that feeling, and of course the precursors are not the only reason why you may experience that, because each and every one of you is accelerating in your own right, at your own pace, in your own way, and may disorient yourself from your reality, your typical average reality, quite often anyway, as you accelerate and raise your frequency. But should you find yourself in that position, allow yourself to drift with it, allow yourself to sit with it, become comfortable with it, and allow it to take you into a new orientation. Allow it to bring into your mind the things that you need to perceive, the things that you need to focus on, the things you need to think about that have to do with who it is you prefer to be, what kind of a world you prefer to have, and the willingness that is within you to expand your reality in ways that heretofore might have seemed like fantasies of the imagination, but ultimately will become your everyday experience. As you come closer and closer and closer and closer to expressing more of your true selves and your true vibration, and let go of those things, those resistances, those negative belief-based systems that do not serve you, and as you accept and allow more of your true expression into your life to be expressed outwardly, to allow those linkages, those connections, those energy lines, those downloads, that information to reach you through your synchronicity, that will be a self-perpetuating guidance system for you, an organizing principle for you through life, then you will find that your senses will begin to expand in such a manner that you may actually be capable of starting to perceive things that were heretofore hidden, heretofore invisible to you. And the next time you may come across such a precursor, you may then, with those expanded senses, know exactly who you're looking at, and they may recognize you. And that will help with that mirroring back and forth cause another level of amplification when you become more self-aware and more aware of what's actually happening all around you. Because there are a lot of things going on all around you that you are unaware of, a lot of things that are invisible that will become visible. So don't be too startled when your senses begin to perceive different kinds of levels of energy or different kinds of beings, or where you might actually be able to pierce into parallel realities and see things that most people may not see. If you think you're going crazy, that's all right. It's a good kind of crazy. And it is, again, simply the symptomology of the expansion of your consciousness and the expansion of your senses. It's part of your natural evolution to begin to break down the barriers between what you consider to be the physical reality and what you will begin to perceive is the actual reality going on around you, about 99.999% of which you don't even pay attention to, but will begin to perceive and allow into your lives should you choose to continue on the journey of expanding your consciousness, which we will assume most of you will choose. Otherwise, we probably wouldn't be having this conversation with you. So we thank you for your boldness and your willingness to explore yourselves, to express yourselves, to be yourselves, your true selves, because even though we understand that sometimes many of you may struggle with this idea, the most difficult thing in truth to be is someone you are not. And that is what has caused all the difficulty, all the pain, strife, and struggle on your planet is resistance to being your natural selves. So we would urge you and encourage you to let go, because when you surrender to your true selves, you will actually discover you've been in control all along. Even when you feel out of control, you're controlling that because of your beliefs about what you believe is true for you, what you believe is probable for you, what you believe is relevant for you, what you believe you deserve, what you believe you are worth. The more you appreciate and value yourselves, the more capable you will be of expressing more of yourselves. And that will make all the difference in your world. So we thank you. And again, thank you for the gift you have given to us in the co-creation of this interaction today. And in return for that gift, we ask you now, in what way may we be of service to you? You may begin your dialogue with questions if you wish.
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
So, my question is regarding to purpose.
Purpose.
Correct.
Your purpose?
Yes.
Same as everyone's purpose. To be yourself as fully as you can. The idea of acting on your highest excitement is an indication of the expression of your purpose, but your purpose is to be you as fully as you can. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Is that too simple?
Yes.
Then you may complicate it however you wish.
As human beings, before we come to this life and experience what we're experiencing, do
Yes.
we come with a pre-laid out path?
In some senses, many of you do, although it's not necessarily as rigid as you may think. There are certain themes that you decide to explore, and you could consider those themes a type of destiny, if you wish, but your free will determines how you will explore that theme. You can explore it happy, sad, upside down, backwards, forwards, fast or slow, whatever you wish, according to your free will. But you will explore the theme that you set out for yourselves because that's the definition of the life, the process you go through in discovering yourself from that particular angle, that particular path is the very essence of why you are you, as this particular persona in this life. So you work both ends of it, in a sense, by making a choice from a higher level and then making choices with your free will once you are in the idea of the physical experience, exploring the theme that was chosen from the other level. Now, of course, we're speaking about all of this from a linear point of view. From our perspective, everything exists all at once, and there really isn't a before and an after. But we understand that from your space-time perspective, it seems as if you are a spirit before the life, then you choose to have a life, then you die and leave the life. But that's just your perspective from a physical point of view. All these stages of your existence actually all exist simultaneously. But you don't have to worry about that right now.
Okay.
Does this help?
A little bit.
Anything else?
Yes. So, my mother tells me stories about my father that I never met, and he used to talk about aliens all the time to her.
Yes.
I never met him. I never talked to her about this until recently, and it's something that's always followed me from my childhood.
Yes.
I've had...
Well, it goes in family lines quite often.
Okay.
Back for generations and generations and generations.
So I've been watching your videos for a long time, and I always feel like there is a message that you might be able to help me out with.
The message that is the most important message we can possibly deliver to any of you is simply the three-part formula of act on your highest passion to the best you are able with absolutely zero insistence on what you think the outcome ought to look like. That's it. Because when you do that, you activate the kit of excitement that contains all the tools you need in life. It becomes the driving engine that propels you through life. It becomes the organizing principle through synchronicity that shows you exactly what you need to do, in what order, and when. It becomes the path of least resistance that allows you to flow through your life in an effortless way, a joyful way. It becomes the path that connects you to every expression of your excitement that is relevant for you to express in your life. It becomes the reflective mirror that reveals to you anything within you that is out of alignment with that excitement, so you can identify it and let it go because it doesn't serve you and add its energy to your overall excitement. It is the thing that supports you in all the ways you need to be supported in order to allow you to continue to act on your excitement to the best of your ability. And it will absolutely leave nothing relevant out. It is a complete kit. So when you act on the three-part formula, you activate that kit, and therefore, all you have to do from that point forward is to continue to act on the things that contain even just a little bit more excitement than any other option at that moment in your life, as best as you can, taking it as far as you can till you can take it no further, with absolutely no assumption or insistence on what you think the outcome should look like, because that's actually a limitation on what could happen even more grandly than you imagined. And by doing that, and then every single circumstance that comes up as a result of the actions you take, just make sure you always know that it's there for a positive reason, and you will always get a positive effect from it, no matter how it looks. Even if something crops up that you don't prefer, if you know that that happened for a positive reason, you will get a positive and beneficial effect out of it instead of identifying it or defining it as a negative. That's all you have to do. That's the whole formula. There's nothing else to it. It's that simple. Does that help you?
Yes. Last one.
Yes.
When I was a child, I was taken somewhere in the water, in the ocean. I just have a memory. I don't know if it was a dream or what it was, but I was taken into the water, deep into the water, and into a cave. And when I got inside the cave, there was a bright light.
Yes.
The light seemed to me what I could remember as Mother Earth. Is there anything about that you could tell me?
Yes, very often, many of you will have different encounters. You will get shifted into a slightly different reality than what you are used to as a physical reality, and have encounters on that slightly different plane with many different kinds of beings. But the dreams that you may remember may be symbolic interpretations of what actually happened, because your physical mind can't either make sense out of what happened, or you are encouraged by those beings to have what is called a screen memory, so that when you wake up, you will just remember what seemed like a strange dream and won't actually remember what happened, because there are reasons why memorizing what happened may actually interfere with your life unfolding in a natural way. So what you're experiencing or describing is a screen memory that is typical of being taken aboard a type of ship, placed in a liquid immersion that allows for the shift to happen without damage to your body to a slightly different dimensional plane, and the light being the idea of an examination or a scanning beam upon you to determine your state of being. Does that help?
Do you know what the purpose of that was?
Yes, to determine your state of being, your state of energy, to see how you were progressing. Because you have made an agreement, like many of you, with these beings to be part of what we typically call the evolutionary hybridization agenda. Part of the evolution of the Earth becoming what we term the sixth hybrid race. So you're playing your part, and now and then there will be, well, checkups.
How am I doing? How am I doing?
You're doing fine.
More specific?
You're doing very fine.
Okay.
Does that help you?
Yes.
Pleasant dreams to you.
Thank you.
Hello.
Speak up and be bold so that all may hear what you have to share.
Okay, hi there.
And for you, good day.
I'm Bonnie, and I'm just starting my journey.
You are? Were
Well,
you just born yesterday?
No. Actually, I've been on the journey for a long time.
We thought
and I've
so.
been trying to, help my children.
You've been what?
I've been
You've been
trying
what?
to-
You've been
I've
what?
been
We are
trying-
selectively deaf to certain terminologies,
Okay,
such
so,
as the word trying. You're either doing something or you're not. Now,
Well-
if you want to try, that's an experience unto itself, and that's fine and valid. but the only experience you will have is the experience of trying and not actually doing the thing. So what would you prefer? To do?
To do, okay.
And what would you prefer to be doing that you're not doing?
Okay, well, I've been doing, trying.
I beg your pardon? Speak
Okay,
up.
I've been talking to my children about journeys and paths they can take and so forth for a very long time. And I kind of lost my own focus, and now I'm
What are you exploring?
need to get myself back on the same path that now my son has really, come full circle with, and is now
all right. Well, what could you
bringing
be
me
doing?
back here. So yes. So as
What
far
could
as
you be
a
doing that you're
teacher,
not doing?
could you possibly put me in the direction I need to be with your teaching?
Pick a direction. Again, it's not that complicated. When we talk about the idea of acting on your highest excitement, we don't necessarily mean it has to represent itself right away as a career or life-spanning project or anything of that nature. All we're saying is if you don't have something expressing itself that way, begin simply. Look around. Just look at the options available to you. Simple, everyday options. Walking, reading, singing, writing, having lunch with a friend, whatever it may be. Just pick the one that has even just the tiniest bit more attraction or excitement to it than any other option, and act on that one first to the best you are able until you can do it no further, with no insistence or assumption as to what the outcome of that action will be. You can take it slow. You can start step by step. It will eventually build into more opportunities coming to you synchronistically for more and bigger expressions of excitement, because all excitement is a thread that's connected to all other expressions of excitement that are relevant for you in your life. So you don't follow the form in which the excitement comes, you follow the excitement itself. That's the path. That's your compass needle pointing to your magnetic north. That's all you need to do. We will assume that you are here today having this conversation because out of all the options available to you, this is the one at the moment that excited you the most. Yes, no, maybe?
Yes.
That's all
Absolutely.
it takes. That's all it takes. When you are done with this conversation today, when you leave this particular location on your planet, just say, out of all the options available to me, which one is more exciting than any other? If it seems that two are equally exciting or more, you usually don't have the same degree of ability to act on them equally. But if you do, you might as well flip a coin. Because the idea is, since there is a guiding principle in all of this, automatically, if they really appear equal, both in levels of excitement and level of ability to be acted on, it won't matter which path you then take, because if it is not the appropriate path, it will contain the synchronicity necessary to turn you back around to the one that is actually correct for you. It's a self-guiding principle. This is how it works. Understand, we're not talking philosophy here. This is physics. It's just energy physics. This is a description of the mechanism of existence and how you can use it more efficiently, more consciously. That's all it takes. Is this making any sense?
Yes.
Is this
very
helping
much.
you?
Yes.
All right, and?
And my son has seen the number 1, every time he turns around on the clock, it's 111.
These synchronistic markers, which many of you have, that sometimes, quite often, involve the concept of numbers, will be symbolic reflections of synchronicity. In other words, when you have that, it's a marker. It's an indication that at that moment you are in the correct energy state, fully aligned with your path. Stay in that state and act from that state at that moment. It is showing you that your timing is aligned. Yes?
Oh, yes. Great.
That's it.
That's great.
Does that help?
Wonderful.
Thank
you.
Good day, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Firstly, I wanted to express my intense love and appreciation for you. A couple of years ago, I decided I was going to commit suicide. I was doing really bad.
Oh, all right. How exciting.
It was exciting. It actually led me to one of your YouTube clips about projection, separation, and denial.
All right.
And that completely just blew my mind open, and I was able to make sense of the negative momentum that was going on inside my head.
All right. Congratulations on connecting with your higher mind and becoming more of a whole person so that you could understand that you could function from your joy instead of from your fear.
Thank you. And I remember like that day I yelled out, I was like, Bashar, please help me. Can you give me a sign? And I got into my car and I turned on the radio. I don't know the name of the song, but there was this song and it was like, and I'm on top of the world. Hey, was it?
Oh, a nice rendition.
I'm sorry. Oh,
that was you connecting to our vibration and getting a reflection from your higher mind because you used this as a permission slip to create the synchronicity you needed for yourself. So by all means, thank you for using us that way, but you're the one that did it.
okay.
That's how powerful you are.
Thank you.
All of you. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So we are happy to be utilized as a permission slip in lieu of the idea of you thinking that you're talking to your higher mind, but in fact, you're talking to your higher mind right now.
Yes.
Using us as a mask to make the process more palatable to you, because many of you don't believe you can speak with your higher mind. So we're happy to be used as that permission slip, but that's what's happening here.
And so I know my higher mind knows what I've been through, and I've been doing really good. I'm on like the brink of being completely in love with myself and working on self-love. And
the brink of love.
Yes. I feel like I'm on the last cusp of being the me that I want to be, but I still kind of have these beliefs that are petering out. They're not completely gone yet.
Such as? Can you name one?
Yes, like problems with my physical appearance.
Why do you have difficulty with that? Everything is what it needs to be representative of the path you chose to explore so that you would go through the appropriate process. And that is beautiful.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Does that help you?
Yes, it does. I was just looking for a deeper understanding because as I'm becoming who I really want to be, sometimes I become aware of when I'm in a parallel reality that I don't want to be. So I think I'm looking for a deeper understanding. As you say, fear is false evidence appearing real.
Can I give you a secret?
Yes, please.
Deep understanding isn't that deep. It's actually pretty obvious when you actually stop and look at it. It really only takes a little bit of logic, a little bit of obviousness, and you will have all the understanding that you need once you understand how the mechanism of existence actually works. That's all it takes. You just have to be able to see what the mechanism is, and then you can use it very clearly. So the deeper understanding that you're really talking about is just a deeper exploration of the beliefs within you so that you can identify them consciously. You see, any belief that is actually out of alignment with who you prefer to be, once you actually identify it clearly, will automatically appear illogical and nonsensical. And as soon as it appears nonsensical, it's gone. That's the end of the process of letting it go, not the beginning. Because anything that would appear nonsensical, you wouldn't hold on to. So that's why it's so important to identify them, because when you actually look at what the belief is saying and realize that it makes no sense, you let it go. It's gone. But you need to find the core belief. You need to identify it. Because otherwise, if it remains unconscious, you have nothing to let go of, nothing to work with. So the deepness is just the deeper exploration of digging down and finding the core belief and being willing to be honest within yourself about what it is you believe to be true about yourself. Because I can guarantee you, you don't have to be afraid of digging deep down to find those core beliefs, because even though they may want to make you afraid to look for them, because that's simply how negative beliefs are designed to perpetuate themselves, to use your fear to make it less likely you will discover them and let them go. They're tricky little things. And the idea is, therefore, the more afraid you get, that means the closer you are to discovering them and letting them go, because they're throwing everything at you that they can to prevent you from doing that. So the stronger the fear, the closer you are to stepping out of it, to breaking free of it. Does this help?
It does. If I know you said when you identify them,
Yes.
you let go of them, but if they are still active,
then you haven't found the core.
Okay.
Because again, one of the so-called tricks that many deep negative beliefs use is they will surround themselves what may seem to be the real issue, beliefs, and they will allow you to find those and let them go because you haven't found the real one yet, the core one yet, the fundamental one yet, and that will delay you. But if you understand that your behavior hasn't changed, you haven't found the core belief. Keep digging. Go deeper. You'll find it. Remember, all you really have to be is honest within yourself and say, what am I really afraid might happen if I actually was willing to be who I prefer to be? That will usually allow you to discover what the fear-based belief, the negative belief, is actually all about. What are you afraid will happen if you actually are willing to be your true self? Easy, yes? Yes?
Yes.
Maybe? All right. There's nothing to be afraid of, because one of the tricks, again, of the negative belief is it will make you believe that if you dig down looking for that negative belief you have about yourself, that when you get down there, the negative belief will make you believe that it's actually going to be true. I'm not worthy. Oh no, I've dug down and I've actually discovered that I really am not worthy. Oh no, what will I do? I guarantee you, those negative beliefs will never turn out to be true. Because you see, what is true is that you are an indestructible, infinite being. And the negative belief has to lie to you about that in order to perpetuate itself. It has to lie because what it's telling you is not the truth. So it has to trick you, confuse you, lie to you, to get you to buy into the idea that you're not worthy, you're not deserving. That's the only way it can perpetuate itself, is to get you to believe those things. So it will use your emotions and your thoughts, your fears, to amplify those particular ideas. But once you really dig down and break through the illusion, the smoke and mirrors and the lies, you will find out it will never actually be true. Because if it was, you wouldn't exist if you were truly unworthy. Because creation doesn't make mistakes. So, argue with creation all you want about your worthiness, you will never win that argument. Ever, because you will never cease to exist. Because existence is the fundamental quality, and you cannot cease to exist. Non-existence, by definition, doesn't exist. So that which exists cannot become non-existent. So, once you exist, that's it. You exist. That's your fundamental quality, to be. There is no not to be. Apologies to your Shakespeare. Is this helping explain the mechanism a little more clearly for you?
Yes, and my other question, I've heard you say, while I'm digging and bringing this stuff to the surface to be healed,
yes,
when something comes up, I've heard you say emotion is energy in motion. So
yes,
if the fear comes up,
celebrate it.
Just
celebrate that it's come up, because the fact that it's come up is bringing your attention to something you need to know about so you can let it go. Like we said, if it remains unconscious, you have nothing to work with. Celebrate. The fear is there knocking on your door like a messenger saying, hey, there's something here you should see. The sooner you pay attention, the messenger will go away. But if you ignore it, if you deny it, if you're afraid of it, then it's going to knock louder and louder and louder and louder to get your attention, because that's what you want it to do. And it's going to start doing things, really doing things, to get your attention. Sometimes even allowing you to have accidents and all sorts of things that will really put you in a place where you then have no choice but to look at it. So don't go that far. You don't need to. You understand?
Yeah, so
use fear as your friend.
When they come up, celebrate the fear, don't panic.
Thank you, fear. Thank you for bringing this to my attention. You've done a wonderful job. Now you may go on your way because now I'll deal with this. Thank you so much. Done. Simple as that. Make everything your friend. Everything happens for a positive reason, yes?
Yes.
You can use it for a positive reason. Even if something comes up that you don't prefer, you can use it in a positive way and get a beneficial effect. That's your job. It's just being what it is. Your job is to define it in the way that works for you instead of the way that does not.
As I put a positive definition into the beliefs and the things that I've gone through, then I'll get a different outcome.
Absolutely, because what you put out is what you get back. That's the law. You can't change that law. You can't break that law. It's part of the structure of existence. Number one, you exist. That's the first law. Can't do anything about that. Sorry. Number two, everything is here and now. Can't do anything about that. You can create the illusion that it's not here and now, but that doesn't mean it's actually not here and now. It is. The one is the all are the one. Can't do anything about that. What you put out is what you get back. Can't do anything about changing that. Everything changes except the laws. That's it. 5 laws. Everything you experience is built on those 5 laws, some combination of them. Everything else is your ball game, your perspective, your opinion, your beliefs, everything else. There are no other facts except those 5 facts. Everything else is just an opinion, a belief, a perspective. That's all.
Or an illusion.
Same difference. Because you're creating a projection in order to have an experience. So it's an illusion that feels real, so that you can have a particular experience. This is what beliefs are for. They have to perpetuate themselves, or you wouldn't be able to focus on having that experience. They have to seem real, and they have to seem like no other belief is possible at that moment. So your skeleton key is that you always know that no matter how real it seems, it's still just a belief, and a belief can be changed. That's what unlocks you from what may feel like a trap. This is not a fact, it's just a belief. It's just a perspective. How could I change it? What new definition could I give it that will give me a different effect? That's your responsibility to come up with that. Does that help?
Yes.
Sounds like fun? Yes?
Yes.
Sounds like empowerment? Yes?
Yes.
There you go.
My last question was, it's funny because before I discovered that YouTube video, I had actually I was very afraid of aliens my whole life. I don't know why.
Ooh, we're scary.
When I was little, I had a nightmare that I was in my hallway and I was going to the bathroom, and I looked outside and there was like 2 grays standing there.
Well,
and I woke up in the hallway, but I thought it was a dream, but then I woke up in the hallway.
Yes.
Did something really happen with that?
But the point is, there's really nothing to be afraid of. It's just that when you're not brought up understanding how to deal with these kinds of things that are actually going on around you in the universe all the time, then you feel like you're out of control, and that's what causes the fear. There's actually nothing to be afraid of in terms of being afraid of them. The fear you feel is the fears within yourself about things that are not settled within you, about your control in life.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. My deep love and appreciation.
Our unconditional love to you as well.
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
How are you?
Perfect, and you?
Really good.
Oh,
Thank
all
you
right.
for coming here. I mean, it's very exciting.
Well, I'm not there, but thank you for the sentiment.
Yeah. It's the same thing. I mean, it's not the same thing, but... So, I have a few questions.
Yes.
Can you explain what happened in Atlantis?
Atlantis?
Yeah.
Do you mean its final destruction?
Could you give like a... Yeah.
What you call asteroidal impact into the Atlantic Ocean, causing a gigantic tsunami that wiped it clean.
Can you give a little bit more, like, before that? Like, what went on?
Well, there were many things that went on. It spanned many thousands of years. It reached a very, very high level of civilization, a very balanced level of civilization at one point. The idea, of course, however, is that over time, for a variety of different factors we won't go into too deeply, there became schisms and fear-based beliefs and all sorts of manner of negative and positive kinds of struggles and strife that eventually allowed the civilization to sort of break down over time and attract to themselves the idea of their ultimate destruction.
Okay, okay.
That's what you call cliff notes of that history.
All right. All right.
Especially because they sort of fell over a cliff.
Ouch. Do you have any, like, Atlantean ties?
All of you do.
All right.
All of you do. Because you're actually going through similar cycles now. Again, slightly different, but you're sort of connecting to those times to allow yourself to make different decisions about what direction you will go in as a civilization. So most of you are connecting to the idea of the Atlantean experience, since it actually does exist simultaneously with you in a parallel reality.
I kind of feel that. I feel that energy sometimes. So does my dad.
Yes. Well, you're drawing upon the information and experiences of the people there so that you can inform your experience here, even as many of them may be connecting to many of you to draw upon your experiences and information to inform their experience in Atlantis.
That's exciting.
Yes, it is.
Let's talk about the Orions. Same question. Do you have any, like, Orion ties as well?
Yes.
Like,
and again, the main theme in both contexts is the transformation of darkness and negativity into light and positive energy and freedom.
Was I, like, not really me, but was I part of the Black League or no?
You have some connection to that, but not exactly in the same way as the channel. But you are peripherally connected.
All right. That's cool.
It's whatever temperature you want it to be.
No, I have a question about the Oversoul.
Oversoul, yeah.
Yeah, why does the Oversoul, like, decide, like, keep having experiences on Earth? Like, does it want, like...
What makes you think they're only having experiences on Earth?
Oh, true. I mean, it's all over the place.
It's all over the place, in all sorts of time frames, simultaneously, yes.
Okay.
Remember, everything happens at once?
Yeah, yeah.
From its perspective, especially. So it doesn't appear from its perspective that it's having all these lives over and over again. It's just having them all at the same time.
So you're just basically finding a, like, new way to explain yourself kind of to the Oversoul? I mean, the Oversoul is experiencing its self.
It's experiencing itself as a collection of selves simultaneously experiencing themselves.
Okay, that's a little confusing.
All right.
I mean, it's a little confusing, but I mean, I understand it, I think.
Well, if you were watching, let's say, for example, on your planet, about 5 different television shows simultaneously on 5 different screens, you would at least have the beginning of an analogy, because you would be paying attention, you'd be picking up on the essence of what each show is about and kind of absorbing all that and looking at the connections between them and seeing if there are patterns in that, and then taking those patterns as your experience and absorbing it and expanding your knowledge in that way by comparing and contrasting all those different 5 experiences all at once.
Okay.
Does that help?
Yeah, it does.
All right.
Because sometimes I feel like they link,
Yes.
leak in sometimes.
They do. There's a lot of overlap in a variety of ways. What you think of as your history is actually a dynamically changing thing and is actually the result of overlaps of several different parallel realities from moment to moment.
So,
it's not a linear path.
Since everything's here now,
Yes.
you can actually change your story here and now, which would affect the past
Yes.
and future.
The
as
past
well.
is created from
Yeah.
the present, not the
Yeah.
other way around.
Yeah. That's very exciting.
Because as you change yourself into a new person, linearly speaking, the only way that the existence of that new person would make sense is if they had a different past than the person that was there a moment ago. So you're connecting into a parallel reality, the parallel reality that's representative of that person, which contains the past necessary to have arrived at that person. So you're changing all the time. Your history is dynamic, never static. And you may not even know that. 5 minutes ago, you may have had a completely different history than you think you have now, but you will only remember the one that's relevant for the person you are at the moment, making you think you always have that history, but that's not necessarily so. 5 minutes ago, you may have been a completely different person with a completely different history, but you won't necessarily remember that because you don't need to, because it's not relevant for the person and history you are experiencing now. You're constantly shifting, constantly shifting. If you really start to wrap your mind around how much you're really shifting, you're going to get dizzy very quickly.
Oh, yeah, yeah. That happens sometimes with me.
Yes. As you catch up to the rate of your shift, sometimes it can be very disorienting, but that's all right. That's a good sign.
It's a crazy ride.
Yes. Anything else?
Yeah. No.
Yeah, no?
Yeah, I do.
All right.
Yeah, your planet.
Yes.
Since you don't have names, how do you, know who you,
Remember that we're telepathically linked.
All right.
We know each other's frequency and vibration.
All right.
We feel who everyone is.
It's kind of like here sometimes. I feel
Yes.
certain people, I
Yes.
sense their frequency and
You
energy.
know them without necessarily needing to know their name. You can feel the vibrational essence of them, so to speak.
That's so cool.
So that's what we do. But we do it consciously all the time.
Now, is planet Earth, right now going through that? It will eventually get there?
Eventually,
Okay.
if you remain on the same path. Yes.
That's exciting.
Yes, it is.
It is. I have one final statement.
Yes.
This is like a dream of mine. I do want to play drums for you, for your civilization sometime.
All right.
That'd be fun.
Well, play them and we'll hear it.
All right. We can have
Doesn't matter where you
got a
are,
jam
where
session
we are.
sometime.
With the intention that you focus on us while you're doing it, it will be absorbed into our general collective frequency, and everyone that needs to perceive it will perceive it synchronistically.
I'm gonna try. I'm gonna do that when I practice.
All right.
It's gonna be fun.
Yes, it is.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you very
Bashar.
much.
Bashar, hello.
Good day to you.
Very excited to be here.
Oh, all right. We are excited that you are excited to be there.
That's terrific. My first question is, do civilizations on other star systems still have a zodiac system?
Well, obviously, they sometimes will recognize that they can impose patterns on the stars, but not many of them express the idea of the zodiac in the way that your planet does.
Okay.
At least none that we've encountered so far.
So that's like a unique thing to Earth here?
Relatively, in the way that you express it, yes.
Okay.
Others can recognize the idea of the reflective nature of those patterns being a reflection of different levels of their collective or individual consciousness. But the way that many people on your planet interpret this, as you call in a zodiac format, is relatively unique.
Okay. My next question is, I understand how everything's happening all at once. Like, I feel that to be true.
All right.
But I don't really understand how that's possible or how that actually works.
Well, it's possible because there's actually only one moment in existence. Now. Therefore, there's only one place everything needs to exist in. Now and here. That's it. So it has to have the ultimate time-sharing program of the only place there is and the only time there is, here and now. Therefore, the different vibrations cause it to seem as if it's sharing that same now and here on different frequencies that then create the ability to perceive them without overlapping. Does that make sense?
I think so.
Well, you know, again, by analogy, that if you are watching one television program on your TV, you know there are probably hundreds of other programs playing simultaneously,
Right.
don't you? Well, don't they all exist at the same time for you? It's just that they're on different frequencies. So you only see the one that you're tuned to at any given moment. But if you change the channel, then you see another one of the parallel reality TV shows that was going on at the same time as the show you were just watching, and no longer perceive the one that you were looking at because now you've shifted your frequency. That's how it works. Simple as that.
But how is it possible that like 5,000 years ago was happening right now also?
Because it's just a different TV show. It's just a different program. You're just calling it 5,000 years ago because that's your linear perspective. That's your relationship to the show. But it's going on right now. It's just going on in a format you think is called 5,000 years ago. That's the play that's playing. Just again, as if you watch a television program that is about life 5,000 years ago. But it's still playing right now. Same analogy.
Okay, I see.
Does that help?
It does help.
All right.
And I have one more question, if that's all right.
Yes?
I'm very into the...
Oh, one moment. Let me check with the great overlords of the universe if it's all right for you to have another question. Oh, all right, they grudgingly say yes.
Have I been granted one more question now?
That was a question. So now you're using them up, asking if you can ask questions. Just ask the question.
Okay.
I will tell you whether it's appropriate or not for us to answer.
Okay. Well, I'm very into the law of attraction. And
Yes.
I see it working in my life all
Yes.
day long.
Yes.
Usually in little ways, but sometimes in really spectacular ways too.
Yes.
And
Yes.
it seems to me like there's still some times where my higher self or something steps in and kind of keeps me from something, and
Keeps you from
or
something.
like kind of like ask me like, is this what you really want? Like it'll give me
It's
almost
not
like a hint
about
of something.
Well, there's the idea. It's not about what you want. It's about what you need.
Okay.
There's a big difference sometimes between those. Sometimes they can overlap, but quite often what you want and what you need are very different things.
So even sometimes when I'm really focusing on one particular thing,
Yes.
and I don't get that, it's because it's not what I need, right?
It's not what you need at that moment. Maybe all you needed to do was learn how to focus.
Damn.
The idea is, do you trust the way your life unfolds?
Absolutely.
Yes or no? Then nothing is keeping you from anything. Everything that happens is exactly what you need at that moment. Use it in the best and most positive possible way, and you may begin to understand why that thing happened instead of something else. Remember, these things are nonlinear too. So a thing may happen in your life, and you may scratch your head and go, I do not understand why this is happening in my life right now. 10 years later, you may understand perfectly why it happened when it did.
Mm-hmm.
But 10 years later, from the higher mind, is right now. So the idea is that it just played out in your life in the way that it did linearly, because you're focused in a linear space-time perspective. But it had to express itself when it did in order for it to make sense to you when you caught up to the reason that it happened. So you would have the information you would need at that time by having had the experience 10 years ago.
I understand.
Make sense? You need to have a broader perspective of how all these things are interlinked rather than such a tunnel vision of linear reality. It's a much bigger network of things going on simultaneously that place themselves linearly where they need to, because that's how you need to experience it in order for it to ultimately make sense in the big picture of your entire life, not just what's happening with you at this particular moment.
That's what I'm starting to see too.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
I have so many questions.
So many questions.
Yes.
Are you sure that a lot of them aren't the same question in different clothing?
No, I'm not sure.
All right. Begin however you wish.
Okay. Are there any extraterrestrials that don't have any questions, or any beings, like, do plants have questions?
Yes, but not in the way that you understand that concept. It's a very different expression of consciousness, and it isn't really something that you can relate to in the way that you express it as a human. But everything is conscious. Everything is self-aware in one way, shape, or form, even though it may be a very alien form of self-awareness to you. But everything, in a sense, knows, if you want to call this a question, that it is being encouraged to be more of what it is. So it is always, in a sense, seeking. There is always mystery. There's always the opportunity to expand, to grow, to change, to express more of whatever it is. So if you want to say that that might be a series of questions, well, that's an analogy that can work, but it won't be exactly how those different life forms are experiencing it. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. So consciousness is similar to a state of questioning, or?
Well, in a sense, consciousness is self-awareness. It is the first reflection of all that is of itself, so it knows it is itself. So self-awareness is consciousness. And therefore, it constantly expands as the reflections in a hall of mirrors continue to expand to infinity. So everything is in that state of self-reflectivity and self-expansion. Yes.
Okay.
Now, the structure never changes. The structure never grows. The hall of mirrors is the hall of mirrors. But the perspectives, the angles, the experiences constantly change, and that's how creation expands. But the structure of it never does.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Kind of, yes.
Kind of. All right. Good enough.
I'll have to listen to it again later.
If you
but-
say so.
I have a question about the physical body
Yes.
and how negative beliefs affect it.
Well, I think you all have some experience with that, don't you? The first level would be called stress. The next level would be called disease. The next level would be called death.
Where did the first negative belief come from?
In the moment of the creation of existence itself, if you want to put it poetically or linearly, remember that once all that is was self-aware and became aware it is everything, then it is both positive and negative. Everything has positive and negative except the one, which is homogeneous and unaware of itself. But as soon as it became aware of itself, there is the Trinity. Positive, negative, the balance point in the center. So the idea of negative beliefs are inherent in the structure of existence itself. Make sense?
Yes. How do we love ourselves if we are one? We don't have something to...
How do you love yourself?
Yeah, I mean, what is it that's loving ourselves?
You.
You?
And all that is. Remember, it's this and that, not this or that.
Okay.
You have to understand that both sides, cause and effect, are actually one experience. One doesn't actually come before the other. Both are there simultaneously. So one reinforces the other. And from your linear perspective, sometimes it can seem as if one began before the other, but that's not actually mechanically the case. So all that is loving you unconditionally and allowing you as an aspect of all that is to also love yourself unconditionally. Yes?
Yes.
So it's all that is loving itself in all the ways it can.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Anything
yes.
else?
So our body is a dense energy field?
Yes, it's kind of a crystallized spiritual energy field. Remember that you're actually in spirit right now. You never leave. That's kind of your natural state. You're just dreaming that you've left. Physical reality is just a projection of consciousness. You're playing a game, pretending that you've left the spirit realm, but you haven't. You never do.
So
Make
after,
sense?
yes, after the body goes away.
You're just
and dissolves.
expanding your focus. Because it's not really accurate to say that your spirit is in your body. It's more accurate to say your body is in your spirit. So you expand your consciousness focus beyond the physical realm, and in a sense you could say the body is reabsorbed, so to speak, back into spiritual energy. Does that make sense?
Yes.
But it usually happens over time because body, the concept of your body, is a product of the linear space-time reality. Therefore, it follows those conditions. It follows those rules. Now, it doesn't have to. On our planet, at our point in our evolution, when we do die, our body just goes, it's just gone. Because we accelerate so rapidly into spirit. We leave nothing behind.
So there's less of a change in your consciousness?
There is less of a change in our consciousness, although it does expand. But we are already in our point of evolution quasi-physical, exhibiting both the qualities of physical and non-physical reality.
And you do have some time?
Yes,
in your
yes,
realm.
we understand the basic concept, but for us, it's much more flexible and malleable as it's becoming more so for all of you.
Okay.
Does that help?
Yes. I have one more question.
Yes.
I had a dream many years ago about, I don't know if it was another planet, but I went to this place which appeared to be another planet, and all of the, there were rows of food growing, like vegetables, and
Yes.
and everything was much more vibrant. And
Yes.
when I touched the vegetables,
Yes.
it was like they communicated with me, and they were,
Yes.
I had much more expanded consciousness.
What you
of them.
experienced was future Earth.
Oh. Okay. It was wonderful.
Well, yes, it is.
Yes.
Please again remember, everything exists simultaneously. Every possible version of Earth you can imagine exists alongside the version you're experiencing right now. You never change the Earth you're on. You change yourself, and you shift to another already existing version of Earth that is already more reflective of the change you made within yourself. But the Earth that you were on a moment ago still exists. You just keep shifting through different versions of it. Each version never changes. Make sense?
Yes, it does.
That's how you change. Because you are passing those parallel reality concepts through your consciousness. But from a linear space-time perspective, you experience it as if the change is going on outside you, in the world around you. It never is. You're changing and shifting yourself to different versions of Earth that are simply more representative of the change you made within you. You're doing that billions of times per second, literally. Billions of times per second. That's what time is. Time is a side effect of your consciousness shifting through billions of versions of parallel realities every second. Otherwise, if there was no shifting, there would be no movement. Everything would be a frozen snapshot. Make sense?
Yes. Yes. It
All
does.
right, well then go have fun with that.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
I didn't really have any specific questions, so I just talk about something.
That's all right. You can make a statement if you wish.
That's fine. So the first thing I wanted to talk about was excitement.
Yes.
The world is just fascinating to me. There's so many, the physical world, there's like so many different, areas and things and everything. Lately, I've become very fascinated with aviation and, flight and all of that. Can I talk a bit more about how that works? Where does that excitement come in, and how does that translate into, physical world? Because
Well, it can translate many ways. I mean, when we talk about the idea of acting on your highest excitement, as we often say, we don't necessarily mean that you have to be jumping up and down and running around like crazy with your hair on fire. We simply mean that excitement can also be translated as a sense of balanced peace. It just depends on what you're passionate about and what is appropriate and in alignment with you at that moment as an expression of your true self. That's what that means. So it can express itself in any number of ways. You can be excited about being tired and going to sleep. You can be excited about many different things. You can be passionate and express your passion in any number of ways. It's up to you as a unique individual to decide which expression is true for you at any given moment. And it can change from moment to moment. One moment you may be passionate about expressing yourself this way. The next you may be passionate about expressing yourself a different way. You have to follow the thread. But excitement is the thread. It is your path. It's the physical translation of the vibrational energy that is truly your signature frequency. That's what excitement and passion and love and creativity is. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I'm not entirely sure why, sometimes some things excite me more than others and so on.
Because right now, that's the thing that you need to really do. Again, it's the organizing principle. It shows you through what excites you more than something else that this is the thing you need to act on next. It's actually guiding you. It's actually laying things out for you in the order in which they actually need to be done that would serve you best. So if at the end of a day, when you're excited about being tired, you've accomplished only a certain amount of things by acting on your excitement, those are the things you needed to do that day and nothing else needed to be done.
Right.
Make sense?
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. I often feel very different from the rest of the people that I meet. Like, for example, dreams I don't have as much, or in terms of fear and all of
That's
that.
all right. Then that's your way.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I was just curious about what that is exactly.
Everyone approaches this differently. Everyone has a different way of expressing and experiencing these things. Just be true to yourself.
Okay.
Yes.
When there's certain meditative experiences or certain energy moving, sometimes I feel cold. Sometimes the temperature feels a bit lower than what it was. Is there
Yes,
some...
well, you may be dealing with different kinds of energy and acclimating to them. You may be processing them. You may be letting go of resistance to them. There may be many different reasons why those kinds of changes are experienced in the body when you're dealing with integrating new energies.
Okay.
Remember that in your science, the idea of becoming superconductive requires that your temperature be lower. Yes?
Yep.
To make sure there is less resistance to the energy flowing through. So that might be one reason. You may be equating the idea of cooling yourself down to becoming more superconductive.
Okay.
Yes?
Yep.
Does that help?
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello.
Andrew, you good day.
So I have one question. So could you
Speak up, speak up.
Could you tell me non-duality things? Non-duality. Non-duality? Yeah. Yes.
Non-duality.
Yes.
There is only non-duality in the one. That's the only place there is non-duality. But like I said, it's not really duality, it's a trinity. There is always the balance point in the center. So when there is duality, it's actually a trinity. And the duality begins with all that is, which is the first reflection of the one of itself that knows itself as the one. We simply refer to that as all that is. So the first reflection, the first self-awareness of the one creates the idea of the trinity that expresses itself as duality and the center balance point. But the one is unaware of itself. It's unbroken. It has no awareness, no reflection. There is no sense of an other. Therefore, there is no reflection that it is different than an other. So there is no duality there. There is only one.
Okay.
But that's the only level that has that. But it doesn't experience it because there's no experience in something that has no idea of itself. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Does that help?
Yes. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. All right, then please all enjoy your refreshment break. We will resume this transmission afterward. But it'll say, let us continue with the transmission by continuing with your questions if you wish. All right, all right.
So I wanted to talk a bit about trauma.
Trauma.
Yes.
All right.
In the past, I had done way too many hallucinogenics, and it led me to perceive a very high level version of reality.
Yes.
But I was projecting fears against it.
Yes.
And for a very long time, I could only access those higher energies through a fear state.
All right.
So,
although that's quite a contradiction.
Well, it's more like I would reach up.
You would use the fear to rebound yourself up to a non-fear state?
Sort of. It's more like when I would get the inspiration towards going to the higher energies, the fears would come up and I would see kind of terrifying things. And in fact, actually used to scare me a lot.
Yes.
Like, you were terrifying for a while. But at the same time, you were giving me everything that I wanted to hear. You know?
All right.
So it was,
which sometimes for many of you can be terrifying.
Right. Which it very much was. So, you know, and I've worked through a lot of my fears and I've gotten to a good place.
Oh, all right.
And sometimes I see other people who have moments or they've had past experiences that have really imprinted their circuitry in their mind in a sense. And it filters a lot of their experiences. And just for, you know, the little kinks that I may have and for other people who may be struggling with a traumatic experience, I'm wondering what, besides just following your excitement, maybe if there's any types of advice that you can give for people handling that.
Well, you can certainly assist people if you've been through something with whatever information you've learned from your experiences, not that they have to take it, but you can certainly be an example of how you may have used the idea of those experiences that originally may have seemed negative to transport you into a positive state. Yes?
Yeah,
so your experience can be valuable for others.
Right.
If you're willing to share it.
Yes. And I am. So, you know, once the platform shows itself, I think I will be doing that more.
All right. Would that be exciting for you?
It would very much be exciting, actually.
All right.
I believe I'll follow through with that eventually.
Oh, all right. Good choice.
Thanks. Another question I have is, so with the same line with the abuse of hallucinogenics, I felt at the time, I was like, oh no, I'm trapped. I was scared. I was like, I'm trapped. There's a trap coming. I have to look out for something, right?
Yes.
And it happened at a music festival. And then coincidentally, I'm in this reality now where there's a very popular style of music called trap.
All right.
And I was kind of like, really? Like, is, you know, like it...
Synchronicity abounds.
Right. But in a sense, it's like, it made me feel like I actually was trapped in that here I am in this reality where this type of music is so abound and strong, and it's called...
But in that moment you felt it, did you know that it wasn't the truth?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Well, I guess apparently not, but I mean, I guess deep down inside I did, but you know, the fear was throwing whatever it could to kind of keep me in that state, it seems.
But as you say, deep down inside, again, the idea is going higher is the product of going deeper.
Right.
So the deeper you reach, the higher you will go.
Okay. And my last question, I know that I was part of the hybridization project, and I had an experience where I was in a room, and they were having me do what they needed me to do. Yeah. And I sort of snapped out of it and kind of didn't know what was happening in the moment. And I remember throwing there was like a doll body in front of me. I threw it, and I was yelling, and I was running. And then all of a sudden, I was in like a ship, and there was this being was very upset with me, and he apologized, and then he showed me something on a machine.
Yes.
It was kind of like a holographic thing, and he was kind of like, this person's going to do this person's going to do that. I don't recall any of it. I don't know what he said.
Yes.
I just remember that it happened. Could you possibly...
Well, just a way of letting you in on what was going on so that you would have more conscious awareness of the fact that you were there under your own choice. But many times, many of you don't remember that. But if you, quote unquote, snap out of it, sometimes then they will need to deal with the idea that you have become a little bit more aware and a little bit more conscious within the interaction. So they will give you more information that you can then participate in.
Right. Could you possibly maybe tell me what that being said to me?
Aside from calm down?
Yes.
There is nothing to be afraid of. let me show you, let me remind you some of the things we have discussed. Let me give you an understanding of where this is heading so that you can remember to some degree, to whatever degree is appropriate for you, whatever it is you need to know to allow this to continue. That's what was said.
Sounds about right. And actually, one more. I saw a blue ship in the northwest. I don't remember what state I was in. I just remember my frequency was very high, and the ship got very close to me.
Yes.
Was that Sasani, or was that
not Sasani?
Was it Sirius?
There are some serious connections to it, but it is something else.
Can I know what it is?
Yes, you can.
So what is it?
I didn't say you would know it from me.
I see.
Give it some time. You will remember.
Okay.
There are other things to remember. If you remember what you just explained to us, what you just described to us, you can, from that state, remember more.
Very good.
You understand?
I do.
Does that help you?
It does.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Shivai Bashar.
Andrew, you good day.
Thank you so much for coming to New York.
Again, I'm not in New York, but thank you.
I'd like you to explain to me about the state of coma, because my son is in a coma for almost 6 years.
All right.
And I communicate with him a lot. I
Yes.
feel what he's feeling, and I
Yes.
do a lot of holistic healing and Reiki and all that.
Yes.
Could you explain to me why he's there? And,
What are you getting out of it? What are you learning? What is he allowing you to learn that you otherwise would not have had a chance to learn?
Yeah, I've been learning a lot about
He's
myself.
doing that for you.
And
Not that he's not getting something out of it. He's having communications of his own. He's setting some things up for the future. But he is giving you this opportunity to accelerate yourself by the things that it's now necessary for you to learn by dealing with his state. So that's part of the agreement that he made with you out of love.
But the reason that he's there is just because of me?
Not just, I said, he's getting some things out of it too. But this is part of the agreement.
So the best way for me to help him is accelerate myself?
Yes, what are you learning? And apply what you're learning in life. Are you acting on your highest excitement in life?
No.
Thank you for your honesty. What would you rather be doing that you're not doing? How would you prefer to be expressing yourself creatively in life that you're not doing?
I don't know.
Oh, come on. You just answered no, which means you must have had something in mind.
Oh, well, before that happened, I was doing all kind of healing. I was doing Reiki. I would like to help.
Is that still exciting for you? Are you still doing that for others?
Sometimes.
Would you rather be doing more of it, or is there something else you would rather be doing that's more exciting that you're not doing?
No, that's the most exciting thing for me.
Then why aren't you doing more of it?
Oh, well, because I'm totally dedicating myself to him and absorb a lot of my
But that's
time.
not what he wants you to do. He wants you to do more of what makes you you.
But if I'm not taking care of him, who's going to do
I
that?
didn't say you couldn't take care of him, but you certainly don't have to devote every single second, do you?
Yeah, but I do.
Why?
I don't know. I just feel like he can manifest himself.
May I ask you a question?
Yes.
Are you sure you're not using his condition as an excuse to prevent yourself from doing what it is you would prefer to do?
Never thought about it.
Think about it now.
Mm-hmm.
Are you holding yourself back because of him?
Not conscious. I don't have conscious of that if I'm doing that.
All right. Well, what are you afraid will happen if you put yourself back out there and start doing what excites you for more people, for other people? What are you afraid might happen? That he will not get the care he needs?
Yes,
Can you not attract someone to help you?
I do have somebody to help me. But
Yes.
it's still
But you have to do it all yourself?
mostly.
Why?
Well,
Why?
it's hard to explain.
No, it's not. Why? Why do you feel you have to do it all yourself? Do you feel you will be doing something wrong if you don't? That you will be abandoning him somehow?
Yes,
Why do you feel that?
I guess I'm afraid to lose him.
Lose him?
Yeah.
Well, where would you lose him to?
That
He's
he
not
does-
going anywhere.
That he doesn't survive without me because
So if you're not there every second, you're afraid he might not survive?
not every second, but I have to.
You said every second. That's what
Maybe-
you said. Isn't that what she said? That's what she said.
Oh, well, if I'm not there, I'm thinking of how he's doing anyway.
If you allow yourself more opportunity to attract the help you need and allow yourself more opportunity to flow the healing energies through you to other people, you will actually also be strengthening your ability to help him. But he's helping you by giving you an opportunity to do what you need to do for yourself and for others, so it will give you more opportunity to do what you need to do for him as well. You are actually curtailing your abilities by only focusing on him. He wants you to grow. Do you understand?
Yes.
Are you willing to do more outside of him with
Yes.
other people?
Yes.
All right. It's important for you to relax. It's important for you to understand that no matter how it looks on the surface in physical reality, he is an eternal, indestructible, infinite being that is making a choice in an agreement with you to allow you an opportunity to find more of yourself by creating this relationship with you. But it's not about depriving you of living your life. It's about actually helping him more by living your life more fully. You cannot lose him. No matter what state he's in, you cannot lose him. Do you understand?
Yes.
You have to start stretching yourself into the spiritual, non-physical world so that you will understand that even if he did decide to go into spirit, you would still be able to communicate. You would still have a relationship. He would still be loving you. You would still be loving him. You need to break down this concept that there's a barrier between physical and non-physical reality, because there isn't.
There was an agreement before
Yes.
he was born.
Yes.
What's the awareness and state of coma? They aware us over everything?
They are aware in different ways. It will fluctuate. It will depend. Right now, he is engaged in a lot of different kinds of interactions and conversations on different dimensional planes. Now and then he'll check in with you, but mostly when he checks in, it's like, are you still here? Why aren't you out living your life? I understand that you love me and wish to take care of me, but get out of the house and go live your life and help other people. I am helping you so you can help other people. Then you will be able to help me in the way that we agreed. You're not growing. You're not changing. You're restricting yourself. You're diminishing yourself. Go live. Yes?
Yes.
Can you do that for him?
Yes.
All right.
All right.
Does that help you?
It does.
One moment. Is there a birthday coming up?
His birthday.
When?
October 17th.
All right. Spend that day, that special day, with him.
Yeah.
But understand that somewhere around that date, you're going to have some kind of a dialogue, either in your dreams, that will give you more insight and more direction about what's going on here, so that you can also allow yourself to celebrate in a different way. All right? Don't be sad.
No, I don't. Actually.
On that day.
Okay.
Don't be sad.
I promise I won't.
Yes?
No, I usually try to always bring a positive energy.
I know you
around.
try, but just do it.
Okay.
Relax. Everything is fine. He is a powerful being. Trust him. Trust yourself.
And you think he want to wake up and come back?
I'm not telling you that.
Mm.
First, you have to be more of yourself. Then you will be able to help him in the way that you need to. You will see what that means, but you will have a dialogue with him first. All right?
Okay.
So, go have fun and make sure on his birthday you sing at the top of your lungs.
I will.
Yes?
Yes.
All right.
Thank you, Bashar.
Thank you.
Hello, Bashar.
And you, good day.
Great to be here with you.
Thank you for the co-creation.
Thank you. My first question is about what's going to happen this month when everything is going to change.
Everything is already changing. Everything is already changing. You'll find out.
I see the pieces coming together, but a lot of people are looking for the phenomenon. Are we going to have fly over New York City, DC, LA at the same time?
The idea of saying that everything will change is not about our ships.
Okay.
It's about what's going on in your world.
Okay.
So keep your eyes open, stay alert, stay in a positive state.
Yes.
Anything else?
Yes. So, taking the subject of this workshop, I met two of my hybrid children on board ship. Amazing
All right.
experience.
Yes.
My question is, what is the next step for me to fulfill my role as an ambassador?
Act on your highest excitement to the best of your ability with no insistence on a particular outcome. There is only one formula that answers all those kinds of questions. Just one. It's very simple. As you act on your highest excitement, you raise your frequency. As you raise your frequency, you become more of who you are. As you become more of who you are, everything that needs to happen based on who you are becoming will happen in perfect timing. One thing connects to the other and leads to the other. It's all intertwined. These aren't separate issues. You don't have to make anything happen. You need to allow it to happen by being yourself. By being yourself, you allow more things that are you to happen. It's that simple. Does that help?
Yes.
Yes.
Last question.
We'll see about that.
As we're moving through different frequencies and different realities,
Yes.
parallel,
Yes.
what is the best approach for our family members here on Earth that are in a different frequency?
Again, be a living example of the idea of living your full joy as best you can. Give them the option to know that that's possible for them, and then let them make whatever choice they wish without invalidating it.
Okay.
Because if you don't validate the choice you make, even if it's not what you prefer, why should they validate the choices that you make? Yes?
Yes.
So be an example of what they can choose. You can share ideas of what they could choose, but you need to allow them to choose whatever they do choose, knowing that, again, they are eternal, infinite, indestructible beings. So what's the hurry?
I just want to see the...
What's the hurry? You have infinity. What's the rush?
That's right. I was expecting to see this planet at a different point, this time.
And again, you never change the planet you're on. You change yourself and shift to another version of Earth that's already reflective of the change you've made within yourself. And then on that Earth are versions, different versions of other people that are also more reflective of that reality. Yes?
Yes,
Is this making more sense?
it does.
Does that help you?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. I know, it's tempting to want to change everything around you, but you can only change yourself.
Hello, Bashar.
And a you good day.
Uh,
Speak up, speak up.
First, I want to thank you for everything that you've shared with us over the years.
It is our pleasure. Thank you for allowing us to do so.
All right. The first thing I want to ask you is about an experience that I had.
Yes.
I came out of a meditation and I was going to bed. I went to sleep, and
That sounds exciting.
it was very fun. I mean, it gets more exciting.
Oh, all right.
So I had what I think is an out-of-body experience.
All right.
And what I experienced was, it seemed like a toroidal something was floating over me.
Yes.
It was gray, and it seemed like it had spirals, like a galaxy.
Yes.
And then I heard a voice say, that's level 1 consciousness.
All right.
And as soon as it said that, the gray thing snapped back into my body.
Oh,
So,
all right. You
could
poked up through your crown chakra and saw things from a little bit of a higher perspective, a little bit from the higher mind's point of view.
Okay.
The crown chakra is actually represented by a toroidal ring, hence in your ancient paintings, when people could perceive them, the concept of you called the halo.
Okay.
That's the crown chakra.
So-
Then up from that is an inverted upside down cone, pointing down, spreading up into the higher mind connection.
Okay, so what was I doing that I tapped into that? I mean, obviously I did the meditation.
You
but-
loosened your frequency spectrum enough that you could slip into a higher frequency more naturally. It's kind of like you let go of the concept of having to focus so strongly in physical reality for a moment.
Okay.
You
And-
saw through the dream, because physical reality really is nothing but a dream. So you became lucid in the physical dream temporarily.
And so it was meant to just show me that
Yes,
things can
because
become
now that you
illusions.
have that experience, you can call upon that experience. Because remember, anytime you remember an experience like that and what it felt like, you're actually in that state. Even if it feels different, you're in that state. In fact, it's actually more paradoxical than that. The only way you can actually remember having an experience like that is to actually be in the state first. Because you can't perceive what you're not the vibration of. So it's kind of a trick. You trick yourself into being into that state so you can remember being in that state so that you can remember to be in that state. But you have to be in the state first in order to remember that that's the state you prefer to be in. So if you can remember having the experience, you're already in the state.
Okay, cool. So I have another question. I have two more questions.
Yes.
My second question is with respect to simultaneous or other incarnations.
Yes.
Can you talk about any incarnations I may have had that
You mean that you have,
that I have now?
that you are connecting to because you don't have them?
Well, yeah, sure, that I'm connecting to.
All right.
Where the themes might have repeated, or any recurring themes that I might have explored.
How much time have you got?
All right. Maybe just one theme then that is recurring in these other incarnations.
Why?
Because I'd like to know if it's recurring in this incarnation.
What do you suspect is recurring or being created anew in this incarnation? Because nothing reoccurs in that context. You are creating it again for yourself anew, creating the illusion of continuity, creating the illusion of a recreation, but you're creating it now. So what do you suspect is representative of such a sense of recreation?
I don't know. I think I heard you in a prior transmission talk about these themes coming up for different people,
Yes.
like from Oversoul,
Yes.
being kind of repeated until the lesson is learned or something like that?
Well, in a sense, but it's never actually the same twice. But it might be another perspective, another investigation, another angle of a theme. But that's not really a repetition. It's learning about something more completely, learning about it from different angles, from different perspectives, so you can have a more holistic comprehension. It doesn't have to be looked at as a repeat or a reoccurrence. That's a definition.
Okay.
It's a definition which will allow you to only experience it as a reoccurrence instead of something new that is a different angle that gives you more comprehension. That would be a more constructive definition of the experience.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
So see what happens when you apply that definition and see if the quality of the experience or the nature of the experience changes for you.
Okay. I will. Thank you.
And your third question?
It's with respect to Merkabas.
Yes.
And I want to know if you could talk a little bit about origin and also how Merkabas are coming to play with the changes that are occurring here on Earth.
Well, it's just based on the concept you typically call sacred geometry, about recognizing that there are geometric patterns that are symbolically representative of certain energy states in your reality that you can take advantage of by aligning with them because they're representative of a more aligned state. So it's a permission slip, in a sense, made out of a recognition of energy in a crystalline or geometric form that represents an aligned state.
Okay.
Use it however you wish. It's just a permission slip.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Does that help you?
It does.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There's that funny noise that happens after everyone talks.
Hello, Bashar.
And are you good day?
Pleasure speaking with you. After all these years of listening to you, I finally get to meet you here in New York. Welcome.
Thank you.
I have a question. I'll just preface it with this. There's been a lot of debate going on the internet in the last year, 18 months, having to do with the heliocentric version and geocentric version of the Earth. There's been a lot of deception being pointed out with NASA, and even there's some people out there saying the Earth is flat with a dome over it.
Yes.
And there are people out there that are trying to measure the curvature of the Earth, and they can't do it. What is your feelings on this?
Your Earth is a globe in space. Now, this doesn't mean that there aren't other parallel realities that may reflect what it is that they're talking about. And certainly they can investigate those ideas. But it's not really applicable to the experience that most of you are agreeing to have here. Nevertheless, it's interesting as an exploration of what can be experienced in other parallel realities. Therefore, it might be representative, strangely, of an expansion of awareness, even though in some senses what they're describing might seem to be a backwards step in understanding.
Well, let me ask you, like there's a film that came out a couple years ago called The Principle. And you have the mainstream scientists right now that debating whether the Earth is moving or not. And they can't seem to come to a conclusion on it. And even some tests that were done over the last 100 years, they show that Earth is not moving. How does that square?
The idea, again, is as your science and consciousness expand, there's going to be more and more overlap and more blending between them. So what you're understanding is that from one perspective, of course, the Earth is experienced as moving. But because they're starting to break into a higher perspective, they are starting to understand but can't yet completely reconcile the recognition that they're having that nothing actually moves because movement is an illusion as a projection of consciousness. So right now they're a little confused because they are overlapping these two things but don't understand quite what the reconciliation is in terms of the fact that they're creating the reality and they're missing the equational variable of consciousness. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm trying to grasp that, but
Nothing really moves. Physical reality is an illusion. You understand that?
yes.
You create the illusion of movement. They're beginning to realize that movement is an illusion. Yet they're still trying to reconcile it with the measurements that they can take within the illusion of physical reality as they have classically described it. So they're seeing a contradiction because it looks like those two things are opposites, but they're not. They're just different expressions, different recognitions of the same state of being. That is, you have created the experience of movement within a reality that actually doesn't move.
So technically, we are rock flying through the space, circling the sun, flying through the universe with the crazy numbers they speak about as far as miles per hour.
From your perspective in linear space-time, that's what appears to be happening, and therefore it can be measured because you're using tools that you created in linear space-time to measure these things. Therefore, that's the result you get. But from a higher level, looking at it from a bigger perspective, nothing is moving.
Okay. Now, another thing regarding space, that there's some other people's, they're filming the moon. And there's a gentleman called Crow 777 who's filmed an actual lunar wave where a ripple goes across the moon, and it almost distorts the moon as far as, it almost looks like it's water or something.
Yes. The idea is that your moon has a relatively thin crust and actually can, well, we believe many of your scientists have actually said this, it can actually sort of sometimes, by analogy, ring like a bell. Therefore, you find that there are gravitational ripples that can pass through it and be observed because of the nature of its construction.
And what causes the ripples?
I just told you. There are crustal displacements brought on by the idea of the passage of gravity waves.
Okay, so gravity waves. All right. Another question regarding the changes. I know we spoke about the changes of 2016.
Yes.
I'm assuming, I mean, since we spoke, since you said about the 2012 was the threshold, that things are becoming more positive.
There are many such thresholds.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know all change has positive and negatives with it, but overall, is this a positive change as far as the change you see?
Ultimately.
Okay. Nice.
That doesn't mean you won't pass through a process.
Okay.
But ultimately, yes. Again, the general marker, at least up to this point, is that you are generally heading in a positive direction by the exploration of your consciousness. Were you not heading in a generally positive direction, it is unlikely we would be having these conversations. Because we wouldn't be having a conversation with a civilization it was pointless to have a conversation with.
Makes sense.
Make sense?
Yes, it does. One other question on why can't people measure the curvature of the Earth right now?
Of course they can. They do it all the time. Many people can measure the curvature of the Earth. Of course they can.
No, physically, as far as on the Earth with lasers and things like that.
They do. Do your research. It is
Right.
not that difficult to measure the curvature of the Earth.
Okay.
So they do.
Okay. One last question.
No, you had a last question, remember?
Okay. That's it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I believe it may be difficult for some people to measure the curvature of the Earth because they can't count how many questions they've asked. No offense. Oh, one last question. Oh, wait, one more last question. Oh, wait, I do have another last question. Just having some fun with you.
Hello, Bashar.
And you good day.
I have a few statements I'd like to explore with you.
Oh, by all means.
The first one is on the new children.
Yes.
And in my line of work, I've had the opportunity to work with hundreds of children, which has always been...
May I ask you a question?
Yes.
Before you continue?
Yes.
Why is it that none of your people say, in my square of work, in my sphere of work? It's always a line.
In my globe of work.
All right, thank you.
Because it's changed, but it
Yes.
continues to be with children.
All right, but it has expanded dimensionally.
Yes, yes.
So more than a line,
Yeah.
more than a plane. Yes?
Yes.
All right.
I'd like to explore the topic of sound
Yes.
and the new children.
Yes.
Working with sound
Yes.
and working with sound to reach their parents and how we can
Go
support
right
them.
ahead and explore the topic of sound. Nothing is stopping you.
Yeah. Oh, I am. I'd like you to comment
You're
on
stopping
it.
yourself?
No.
You're exploring.
I'm exploring.
And this excites you.
Yes.
What do I need to comment on? You're following your excitement. You already intuitively understand that everything in physical reality is all about resonance,
Yes.
frequency, vibration. Therefore, as you create an atmosphere of certain frequencies and immerse people in them, they begin to take on, they begin to entrain to those frequencies that are representative of a more holistic experience, if they choose to.
All right.
But at least it gives them the opportunity. Yes?
Yes.
This is what we are doing with all of you right now, giving off a frequency that invites and encourages you to match the frequency, which is reflectively representative of more of who you really are.
Hmm.
Yes?
Yes.
So, you know what you're doing. You don't need any help from me.
All right. I got that.
Anything else?
Yes. Lately, I've been having some lucid dreams.
Oh, all right. How
And
exciting.
Yes. And a lot of them have been about stones and just names of stones. And,
Yes.
I'm wondering if you can comment on just the earth speaking to us.
Yes.
And
You are starting to hear the language of other forms of consciousness on your planet, other expressions of the collective consciousness of your world.
in that exploration, then, is it just we continue to follow our highest excitement and then we know what to do? Because I get trapped in,
Yes. No.
what do I do?
That's a definition.
All right.
That's a definition. If you have a complete definition of excitement, you understand that within a complete definition of excitement is the understanding of what to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have an understanding of what to do with it, it's because you have a definition that isn't complete. You're saying, oh, I can have excitement, but then I don't know what to do with it. That's not a definition of excitement because excitement is a complete kit. You're defining your excitement as something less than a complete kit. Because if you understand it's a complete kit, you would understand it would bring everything you need, including all the information you need to know what to do with your excitement. So make sure that your definition of excitement is actually an accurate one, a complete one, a holistic one, instead of breaking it down into components that are contradictory to one another and have no business being put together in a way that you prefer to. Yes?
Yes. Thank you.
It's all about clarifying those definitions. Your definitions and what definitions you believe in most strongly are what determines how you experience physical reality. And remember, sometimes these things may seem very subtle. Oh, well, that's not such big definitional change, you may say. But the point is, as we have explained many times, you are now in an accelerated state, which means, by analogy to your technology, you now have very, very specific high tolerances. And the smallest speck of something that doesn't belong there will freeze the entire operation because the tolerances are so fine. So when you blow out the things that don't belong, then you'll operate again, you'll flow again. So this is all about an opportunity to clarify your definitions and make sure that your definitions are precisely aligned with what you prefer them to be, because if they're off even a little bit, the whole operation freezes until you blow that dust out. Make sense?
Yes. Is it as easy as that?
It is as easy as that, unless, of course, you choose to believe that it's not.
Right.
And that's up to you.
Yeah.
We will never take away from you your opportunity and your ability to complicate things for yourself. If you want to do that, it is absolutely, perfectly valid a choice. But you don't have to do it that way.
All right.
Does that help you?
Yes, I'm so excited. I can't even hide it right now.
Oh, well, please don't. Please don't.
Thank you.
Thank you. And you good day.
Okay, my questions are a little bit more simple. The first one, also with the dreams.
Yes.
I have a lot of what we call nightmares.
How exciting.
Yes, they're very exciting. Sometimes too exciting that I feel like I wake up very tired.
Yes.
And it's very hard for me to be present here.
Oh, all right.
And I sometimes also feel like I pick up on memories from my dreams and feelings from my dreams and apply them to my life. As an example, would be upset with a person that I had a dream about and not realize that was the reason.
Yes.
So
what are you learning through this process? Oh, I can ask you a question if you wish.
Sure.
Would you rather the nightmares played out in your actual physical life instead?
No, because I feel like I have more control of my dreams.
Therefore, aren't you grateful and energized when you wake up in the morning and go, phew, that was only a dream?
Yes.
Then why are you tired?
Because then I'm going to sleep and go back to it.
And again, don't you understand that it's actually to your benefit to do it in the dream state instead of your physical reality? So wouldn't that be an exciting thing? I can let off all this steam and open all the valves and process all these things in my dream state. And I am really excited about getting back there so I can process more of those things in my dream state rather than allowing them to manifest in my physical reality. Isn't that an exciting preference?
Yes.
Can you look at it that way and then experience the difference?
Yes. It makes it more exciting.
Yes, it does. And this is what we are talking about. Create the definitions that work for you. Stop buying into definitions that don't. Many of you make automatic unconscious assumptions that the way things are the way they have to be. Everyone knows, you say, that it's this way. Everyone says it has to happen like this. And pretty soon you actually accept that as a fact. There are no facts except the 5 laws. Everything else is your definition, your belief, your perspective, your opinion. So if something isn't working for you, stop, take a moment and go, I don't have to think of this thing like this. I don't have to believe it's this. I don't have to believe it's a fact. I can determine what definition I would like to create that represents this experience. I would like to create a definition that works for me in a positive way, one that I feel is more aligned with my excitement. And you can. Nothing in creation will contradict you when you come up with a definition that you prefer. It doesn't have a mind of its own. You are all the minds that are given the free will to come up with whatever you decide is correct for you as a definition that works. That's your job. That's your power. That's your ability.
Mm-hmm.
You are completely free to do that. And creation will back you 100%. It doesn't contradict you because all experiences to creation are valid. So if you want to be supported in doing something you don't prefer, creation says, okie dokie, I will support you in doing something and feeling something and experiencing something you don't prefer because that's what you said you believe to be true. It's not going to contradict you. But why not allow it to support you in something you prefer instead of something that you don't? Because you're always supported. It's just that you're supported in what you say is true. It won't contradict you because it's unconditionally supportive. Unconditionally supportive. So whatever conditions you create, it will support them. Create the conditions you prefer. Create the definitions you prefer. It will support those just as readily as it has supported all the definitions that you've created that you don't prefer.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
You are never not supported. It's not possible to be unsupported by creation. If you were unsupported, you wouldn't exist.
So with the same, I guess. So is there any chance that our spirit beings are in the wrong physical place?
Excuse me, there's a lot of laughter going on this end.
Inside my head, too.
There is every chance in creation that you can have an experience of being in the wrong place. There is no chance that you actually are in the wrong place.
Do you have a choice of getting out of a place and going to a different place?
Depends on what you mean by a place.
planet.
Yes. Do you want to leave the Earth?
That would be nice.
Why? You chose to be on Earth.
I feel like it's kind of boring for me. I don't know.
Really? Boring. With all the things going on your planet, you call that boring.
Comparing to my dreams, yes.
Do you understand that there's no such thing as a boring situation? Only bored minds? Your definitions are what's creating an experience of boredom, where they could be creating an experience of absolute ecstatic ecstasy. You're the one dampening the excitement.
True.
I know, that's why I said it. Change your definitions, I guarantee you things will get a lot more exciting very quickly.
Okay, thank you.
So, remember you made the choice to be where you are for your own exciting reasons. Allow yourself to remember what they are, because they haven't gone away.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Does that help you?
It does.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
So, I have been visited
Yes.
by a lot of creations
Yes.
from other places
Yes.
my entire life, but lately
Yes.
they've been very powerful,
Yes.
overwhelming.
Yes.
I know I have a job to do.
And are you doing it? Hesitation usually means no, not at all. What's holding you back from doing what you prefer to do, from being yourself as fully as you can?
I'm not ready to channel.
Who says?
Me.
Why not, though?
It's overwhelming.
How about it's overwhelming because you believe you're not ready, and therefore the energy's building up within you because you're not letting it through? What happens when energy piles up in something and then it can't really contain it after a while? What happens? Boom!
Yeah.
Why would you want to go boom instead of letting it flow through and then going, ah, that's a relief?
Because it's happening without my permission.
Nonsense. There's no such thing. Don't fall into that old trap. That's outdated thinking, medieval thinking, old-fashioned thinking. Nothing happens without your permission. You are in control. You just don't believe you are. Why would you think that you would receive this energy if you didn't ask for it?
You're right.
Why? What point would that serve?
Exactly.
So you must have agreed to this.
That's what they say.
Yes, it is. It's what we say too. Now, here's the real question. If you move forward in this way, in a way that is representative of being yourself as fully as you can, acting on your excitement, flowing the energy, what are you terrified might happen? Be honest. What are you afraid might happen if you just allow the flow to happen? Use your imagination. Come on, I know you can.
I'm not sure.
Sure you are. What are you afraid might happen? Name one thing.
I won't come back.
You won't come back? Where do you think you go?
Other places, other
What are
dimensions.
you describing as a channeling? You understand channeling is a natural state. You understand you've done it many times in different ways.
I mean, literally, just feeling like something else is in what I perceive as my body.
Listen, this is what I'm telling you. You have an outdated, old-fashioned, medieval definition of what happens in a channeling. You never leave. There is nowhere for you to go. There is no place within you for anything to enter. You fill you up 100%. There's no room for anything else. The idea of channeling is not a possession. The idea of channeling is you learn to vibrate at the same or similar frequency to something else, and when you match its frequency, your vibrations lock like tuning forks, and you translate the idea of this other entity or consciousness as a biological translation device. You translate it into your language. Nothing enters you.
Right.
You become a mirror of that idea, but you don't go anywhere.
Right, but it's so intense.
Yes, of
every
course,
time.
because you won't let it through. It's building up and building up because you agreed to this. So it's pushing and pushing and pushing. But this is the natural symptoms that come with resistance. And it's going to build and build and build, and you could explode if you don't let it through. So what are you afraid of in letting it through? You just said, well, I might not come back. Based on the explanation we just gave you, you understand that that's not possible because you don't actually go anywhere. So what else is getting in your way of letting it through? What other things are you afraid of that are actually false assumptions about what's happening in that experience? The more you divest yourself of these outdated definitions, the more you can relax and do the job and let it through and feel the flow and get supported by it instead of feeling so overwhelmed. You're creating the overwhelm by resisting what you agreed to flow through you. Because it's your energy that you're feeling. It's not the energy of another consciousness. Yes, there is other entities, but what you feel is your energy resisting going into harmony.
So I'm afraid of how powerful I am.
Yes. So get used to it. You are that powerful. Get over yourself. Are you understanding?
Yes.
You have a gift. And if you have a gift to give, there is someone waiting to receive it. Why are you depriving them of the gift you have by holding it back? It's not very nice. Are you not a nice person? Are you not a giving person? Are you not a loving person? Answer.
No, I am.
Then why would you hold back from the people that are waiting to receive from you the gift you have to give?
You're right. It's a disservice.
Yes, it is a service. And by serving others, you serve yourself in the way that you need to, because by supporting the whole, you get supported because you're part of the whole. Relax. There's nothing to be afraid of here. All you're doing is discovering more of yourself, more of your own power, and expressing it. And again, I remind you, anytime you've ever done anything that is representative of what you love to do, you're already in a channeling state anyway. This is nothing new. Channeling is a natural state. It's just a peak performance state. It's just an aligned state. That's all. Everyone does it from time to time anyway. And in fact, you're actually all doing it all the time in one way, because the idea of what you think of yourself as a person is a channeled projection. You're all channeling your personalities into being. So you're all channels, you're channeling all the time. This is nothing new. You're an old hand at it. But you are entering a new understanding of the expression. And by resisting it, you're feeling overwhelmed. Have some fun with this. That's what it's for. It's for you to discover more of yourself and express it in the ways that are true for you. And again, there are people waiting for the gift and the service that you can provide. So, don't be, what is your word? A Grinch. Don't channel the Grinch, because that's what you're doing by refusing to do it. You're already channeling a negative energy, your own. See what happens when it interferes? Synchronicity abounds. Look and recognize your symbols of when things are out of alignment, out of tune, and in discord within you. And let them flow and align them. Be the natural you. Is this helping?
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
So just one more.
Yes.
Really, I took a tally.
All right,
So
thank you.
this does seem related, and I imagine it's more blocking, but I know I'm not alone in this
Yes.
ailment, for lack of better words. We call it, what's it called? We call it, what's it called? Oh my gosh, sleep paralysis.
Yes, this is a natural symptom of shifting from one dimensional state to another. And there you go again.
Okay.
The idea is that sometimes when you're shifting into another dimensional state, you try to move as you typically move in physical reality, but you're not really locked into the physical reality exactly in the same way. So you can't really move in the way that you're used to, and so it feels like paralysis. But the idea is that you're shifting to another dimensional state.
So is there a way to ease into it?
Well,
Because,
understand that that's what's happening, and the understanding itself can provide more ease. Oh, this is just the typical shifting into another state. This is what needs to happen, so I don't go spinning off into another dimension I don't want to go to. It's like locking you in so that you can shift properly.
Okay.
Like a seatbelt. So that if there's an abrupt shift, you don't go flying through the windshield, metaphorically speaking.
Right. I think the panic sets in when you can't breathe.
But
During this
you are learning to breathe in a different way. You have to relax and let the things flow. Then you'll be fine. Just know that it's natural symptomology that you're not used to yet. That's all. It's just something you're not used to. But you'll get used to it. It's just the remnants of resistance. That's all. The more you relax, the more you do allow yourself to breathe in whatever way you can, the easier the flow will be. Just relax. Know that this is okay. Know that you are being guided. Know that you have help. Know that you're never alone. Know that there are beings looking out for you. Just relax. You have help. You're not alone.
So I just asked the same question twice.
Yes. But
Thank
that's
you.
often the case. That's why we say sometimes your questions are actually the same one in different clothing. Does this help you?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Do us a favor. Are you willing to be more of yourself, knowing that this is something that others will receive benefit from?
Yes.
Will you come up to the beginning of the stage? And take the channel's hand? Is it a deal?
Yeah.
You shook on it. Yes? You're fine. Wait till she sees the fine print. Just kidding.
Good afternoon, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
I'm a divorced mom.
How exciting.
Yeah, more exciting than you can imagine.
Yes. Oh, I can imagine pretty exciting things.
I raised my 4 children with good values.
Yes.
They're becoming teenagers and video games, and I'm in a custody battle. If I win...
A custody what?
Custody legal battle.
I understand what it means. I'm looking for your definitions to change.
If I win this...
I'm winning the battle.
There's no winning.
Challenges, great. Battle, negative definition. How do you want to experience this transition, this transformation? Positively or negatively?
Positively.
Then don't think of it as a battle.
My journey has brought me to a wonderful higher vibration.
All right.
I'm enjoying where I am.
Yes. And therefore, everything that happens in your life can be used for a positive reason to enhance the state of being that you prefer, can't it?
It is.
All right.
My boys, however,
Yes.
prefer video game land at Dad's house, and
Yes.
they're happy with him, and he loves them.
So?
So I have the decision that if the judge says I get custody, they
Yes.
will resent me and have assaulted me.
Well, that's a nice future that you're setting up for yourself. Why would you prefer that particular future?
I don't.
Well, then why are you going down this path for others to make that decision for you instead of taking the responsibility and making the decision yourself as to what may seem to actually be more in balance for your children and for you?
Exactly. Well, the negative around their world is not what I raised them to be. And I'm sure a lot of people have negative family members.
But if you have raised them to be who they are, what difference does it make what's around them if they understand how it is other people's issues and not their own?
That's what I have taught them.
Well, then what are you worried about?
I'm not worried.
Well, then why are you talking to us?
Whatever will be, will be.
No. And yes. Because the idea is what will be is what will be representative of the state that you prefer to be in.
Exactly.
So then there's no battle here.
That's what I tell my children.
All right. Then
I guess I'm moving on to my second question.
all right.
You mentioned in the beginning of today's transmission that the precursors will be implemented into our society.
No, I said they're already in your society.
That's my question. I have experienced my whole life.
Yes.
And when I see them in the store and I cross the aisles and there they are again, do I shake their hand, get excited, or just enjoy that they're checking on me?
Whatever seems to be appropriate at the moment.
It's always a positive experience.
Allow the synchronicity to show you what may or may not need to be done.
Okay.
Go with the flow, as you say.
Well, thank you for allowing me to see what I've seen. Or
Well,
thank
you were the
me
one
for
that
allowing
allowed
me
it.
to
Yes,
see
thank
what
you.
I've seen.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
I must say, yesterday I sat in nature in my bare feet and spoke with you, and you had called my name here
You
today.
tapped into our collective consciousness.
Yes.
Which you are familiar with our energy, and thus our energy is representative of that.
Yes. And I told you that I was nervous to be standing up here. And
now?
It's true.
Would
and you asked me
prefer to be
why.
excited instead of nervous?
Excited, yeah.
All
Nervous,
right.
nervous excitement.
Yes.
Nervous excitement. And you asked me why, and I said because I feel self-conscious. And I asked you if I would be allowed to just sit here in lotus position and close my eyes and connect with you that way. And so that's what I did in my meditation. And
right.
then I was okay to stand here with my eyes open.
All right.
So thank
Congratulations
you for that
on using the
pre-healing.
permission slip that worked best for
Yeah, thank you for that pre-healing.
you. Thank you for healing yourself.
Thank you.
Bringing yourself back to center.
Exactly. I have a few questions. First of all, are there any precursors in this room?
No.
How about in the hotel?
There are precursors in New York.
Ah, okay. How about
Sometimes they
Connecticut?
may pass through the hotel. None are in the hotel at the moment.
Okay. What about Connecticut? I live in Fairfield.
Connecticut is also not in the hotel at the moment.
Are there any precursors in Connecticut?
Yes.
Fairfield?
From time to time, not always.
And are they any specific age? Would I be able to identify them? By
They
any
are different ages.
different ages. Okay.
You want a map?
But they keep moving, don't they?
They do.
Yeah.
Therefore, so does the map.
So does the map. Okay.
Yes, see if you can find it.
Yeah. Well,
Maybe
I
the
see
map
people,
is in Connecticut.
I see people that I think maybe are a little different, and then I wonder if it's my projection or if it's just the vibration that
It
I'm
might
in.
be one or the other. You will have to have that discernment yourself.
Yeah. Okay.
That's part of the process of you sussing it out.
Yeah.
And them getting a reading on what your capabilities are in perceiving what it is you think you're perceiving.
Right. Right.
So we can't intervene in that organic process.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm good with that. Today, when I opened my notebook to take notes on some profound things that were being said, I wrote the date. I wrote today's date as 10/2/19, and then I said, "What am I doing? That's not today's date." Is there any significance to 10/2/19?
I guess you'll find out when the date comes.
So it doesn't have any kind of meaning as far as you.
I guess you'll find out when the date comes.
Okay, it's my own journey. Okay. Another question: who is in today's audience? You said as we talk to you, we're talking to you as well as an audience.
You mean on our side?
Yeah, on your side.
Many beings from my civilization, beings from the Sirius civilization, Arcturus, Pleiadian, Orion, many different things are listening in from time to time in a dynamic way as they need to. The Yael, other hybrid civilizations, so on and so forth. Civilizations we can't tell you about are listening in.
Wow. So when we speak with you and your collective in our own private meditation, are we able to, do we have that audience too? To
Where
some
it's
extent?
relevant, yes.
Okay.
Where it's not, no.
Okay. 'Cause I do work with Palladian guides.
Yes.
And I've started working with Palladian brain, dolphin brain repatterning. And then I got this Sirius
Yes.
crystal.
Yes.
First of all, can you tell me, is it Austrian crystal, or do we know what it is as far as a stone goes?
Not Austrian.
Okay, but like a quartz kind of thing?
A type, but there are other minerals involved.
Okay. So I want to use this crystal with my Palladian
Go right
dolphin
ahead.
brain repatterning.
It's your permission slip.
Okay.
You understand permission slips, yes?
I do.
All right.
I do.
Then, if
So-
that is what gives you permission to be more of yourself, use it.
So I just need to activate this and then go into my
It's
Palladian
your
work.
permission slip.
Mhm.
However your imagination says it would work best is the way that you will use it.
Yeah.
All tools, all techniques, all rituals, all objects are permission slips that allow you to align them with your belief system in such a way as to give yourself permission to be more of who you are. But you're the one doing it. You're the ultimate permission slip. That's just a reflection of, in a sense, an aspect of you that is willing to align in such a way as to be more expressive of your total self. Use it
And
however you wish.
Is it necessary that I wear it when I'm doing the work, or can I reach a point where I'm connected to it without
I do
having
not
to
appear
have
to
it?
be getting through.
Sorry.
You're asking me about all these techniques.
Yes.
What did I just say? All tools, all techniques, all objects, all rituals are permission slips. Do what works for you in the way that it works for you.
So it's completely up to me.
What you are attracted to because it will work for you. That's why you're attracted to do it a certain way. When it no longer works for you, you will be attracted to do something differently.
Right. Okay.
Yes? It doesn't matter what the arrangement is. It doesn't matter what the ritual is. It doesn't matter what the technique is. It doesn't matter what the tool is. It doesn't matter what the object is. They're just permission slips because physical reality is a projection, an illusion. So they're just symbolic reflections of your belief system state at present that will contain a belief that says, if I do this, I can relax my belief and actually stretch farther than I typically believe that I can. but you're doing it anyway. You're the permission slip.
Okay.
Eventually, you will understand you don't need any permission slips besides yourself.
Right.
Yes?
That's the ultimate goal.
But
yes.
right now, if it works for you, by all means, use it and have fun.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it takes.
Yeah.
Yes?
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a question about reptilians and grays.
Yes.
They're
They're not really often what many of you think.
Yeah. What is the relationship that you have with them, or shall I first tell you mine?
The idea is that sometimes because of the nature of their DNA and how closely connected it is to yours, because the so-called reptilians, or saurians, if you wish, are extracted and amplified from what you would call ancient saurian DNA on your planet. So they are the evolved versions of those beings that you called dinosaurs a long time ago. Because they still represent that kind of DNA, and because you also represent, despite your genetic alterations, the idea of mammalian DNA, often when you come into contact with a saurian, you will find that the vibrations and the relationship may still be representative of something relatively primitive, so you will react, in a sense, as prey to what you perceive to be a predator, even if they're not. And you will go into your fight or flight mode, thinking, oh, those evil reptilians, they want to eat me and control me and take over everything. And the reptilians are just standing there going, we were just trying to say hello. But they panicked because they think we're going to eat them.
Right.
But that's just an outdated response based on your physiology that goes into and activates, oh yeah, what do you call it? Your reptilian brain. And thus amplifies the idea and projects onto the reptilians what you think they're going to do instead of what they actually are. Does that help?
Yes.
And the grays, as we have said, although there are a variety of them and different factions of them from different parallel realities, it's not just one thing that you're dealing with. The idea in general, however, of the main ones connected to the hybridization agenda, as we have said, are a race of humans that have mutated themselves from a parallel Earth where they destroyed their reality and had to seek viable source of human DNA to combine with their DNA in such a way as to create the hybrids to perpetuate their culture. Now, the hybrids, such as myself, are giving you the benefit of the experience so that you don't have to go down the same path and destroy your version of Earth like they did, and you don't have to turn into your version of the grays like they did. But they used to be as human as you.
So the reputation that I hear reptilians as well as grays have is that they...
the early grays are simply not emotional. Therefore, they come across to you as cold because they can't relate to the idea of the fear that you feel when you go through an experience that you don't remember you chose to agree to have. So they just simply don't quite understand what all the fuss is about and can't relate to you. You understand?
Yes.
And many of the stories that you hear about the reptilians, again, are amplifications of your own negativity and your own fear-based beliefs rather than what's actually happening. Because they are reflective of certain things within yourselves as a society that you fear will happen. And therefore you're using them and projecting on them that kind of a symbol.
Right. And I feel just in my relationship with them during meditation and dialogue is that the reptilian and gray vibrations lock on to dense, low vibrations that we have in our human experience.
You're missing the point.
It's not that way?
It's not that they're locking onto it. It's that they're activating it within you because in their presence, the idea of the compartmentalization and the density within your own beliefs is activated and brought to the surface, and you are forced to face those ideas, perhaps before you're ready to integrate them, and thus you go into fear. You're not actually afraid of them. You're afraid of yourselves.
So the vibration of fear, is that, how does that align with your work with them? I mean, do they...
You have to understand that you can simply mitigate the experience of fear by taking ownership and responsibility for the belief systems that you're holding on to that are generating the fear in their presence. So that you can become a more holistic being and integrate and interact with them in a more holistic way that will allow you to open your eyes and see that all of the tales you're telling yourself about what's going on there, many of them are quite false.
So if someone is in a low vibration, in a very dense energy place,
then you will see what it is you are capable of seeing from that level and nothing more.
Okay. So just because someone's in a low vibrational anger place doesn't mean that they are aligned with reptilian or gray energies in any way?
Not in the way that you mean it.
Okay.
But you will attract the vision of the energy state that you are in. You will create the representation of something else to fit the energy state you are in.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Is that what's up with Trump?
We are not allowed to comment.
Okay, I understand completely. Leave politics and religion out.
Not necessarily, but we are not allowed to comment for reasons we cannot comment on at this time.
At this time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Were you going to say something? No. I'm having a good time. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, good day.
Good day. It's very exciting to be here.
Yes.
And I wanted to ask you a bunch of questions at once, so you can answer them in the way.
One at a time.
Okay. I just thought since it's all happening at the same time anyway.
At a time.
Okay. So let's talk about this place, New York City. It seems like people are here and they're following their excitement in being here. What do you read as the density of this place and its progression in consciousness?
Again, you get out of it what you bring into it. It's a very amplifying and magnifying energy. It's a strong vortex, but it's going to amplify what you contain. So the idea is it can be extremely exciting. It can also be something that can be very devastating. It depends on what you bring to it, but whatever you bring is going to be highly magnified.
Can you talk about the levels of reality that New York exists on? Like you've said about other places, they exist in many levels at once.
Well, everything does.
Okay.
There are many different levels of the concept you call New York, many different parallel versions of it.
So what makes it so intense here, so amplified here?
I just told you.
But is there something about the place that makes it?
The idea is that any strong energy vortex will connect to a multitude of dimensions, and the idea is that that connection will be felt very strongly. Therefore, it's like saying you're standing right in the eye of the storm. You're standing in the overlap, in the Vesica Pisces, and experiencing an overlap of many different things in a very visceral way, rather than on the edges, on the periphery, where it might feel softer.
So creation is also easier in a way to manifest things within that eye of the vortex.
Everything is accelerated, everything is amplified. And if you get a handle on aligning with the concept of manifestation, then yes, that will be magnified too.
Okay.
But remember, you're always manifesting something. You're never not manifesting. If you were actually not manifesting, you would be having no experience at all.
Right. Okay. Now I want to talk about the progression of contact, because the precursors seem like a new concept. Is there a progression to the type of entities that are showing up?
Yes. This is part of the protocol.
Can you lay that out?
I already did.
From the precursors to what comes next?
I already laid it out in the transmission we gave called the Protocols of First Contact. You may refer to it.
Okay, so as they appear more and more in our society, we increase our vibration, we get used to that frequency, and more of us start to be present and live at our excitement.
That's the general idea.
Okay. And when the planets are everyone on the planets at their highest excitement?
Yes.
Is that a shift? Is that the time of contact? Is that or that
open contact will occur prior to that because it will occur in isolated places first. where there are bubble realities that are conducive to that. It will not happen everywhere at once, all at once. Eventually, those individuals who choose to remain in the state of being that is representative of a version of Earth that is having open contact will ultimately all be excited about that and all participate in that reality to some degree. But it doesn't have to be all at once right now for it to begin. It can happen in pockets. It can happen in bubbles.
So if a group of people were together at their highest excitement, that would bring in
more probability for that particular kind of an experience being real to them.
And is that what you on your side are waiting for? Are you waiting?
We're not waiting for anything.
You're not.
We never wait. We're too busy being excited and living our lives. But the idea of our contact with you is part of our excitement. So it's not like we're waiting. We are actively involved back and forth in a variety of ways of helping give the information that is necessary, if you choose to take it, that will help accelerate the concept of open contact.
So you talking to us right now is your highest excitement?
Absolutely, or I wouldn't be doing it. And it doesn't matter whether you listen to us or not. I'd still be doing it because it's what excites me.
What is so exciting about talking to us?
I'm a first contact specialist, and by making first contact with new civilizations, it expands my understanding of creation in exponential ways, and this is exciting.
And what have you learned today?
I've learned that you ask a lot of questions.
Okay. One more question. I talked to you once about the ability to time travel. You said we're doing it all the time. But
in a sense, but not in the classical way you think it works.
But I was specifically wondering, is there a machine that can be built?
Yes.
But
not time travel in the classic science fiction sense. That doesn't exist.
Okay, so
the idea is that when you think you're time traveling, you're going into an alternate parallel reality that may look very similar to what you call the past or the future, but it's not your timeline. Let me put it to you this way. Here's the analogy and the example. Let us say you are 10 years old and you take a photo of yourself. Yes?
Yes.
And then here's the photo and you put it on the table. Now you grow up and you're 30 years old and you invent a time machine. And you take a photo of yourself with the time machine. And you take that photo and you put it on the table. Now you get into the time machine and you go back to what you think is the past, to your 10-year-old self. And when you're with your 10-year-old self, you take a photo of your 30-year-old self and your 10-year-old self, and you take that photo and you put it on the table. You understand there are 3 photos there?
Yeah. Yeah.
The first photo is just of the 10-year-old self. That never changed. That exists concurrently with the photo of the 10-year-old and the 30-year-old, which is a different reality. Because the 10-year-old still exists in his own photo. So you're not actually traveling to your past because you weren't there.
As a 30-year-old, you're not there.
In that reality, you weren't there. Only the 10-year-old is in the photo. The reality where you, as the 30-year-old and the 10-year-old, is another reality, a different photo. As you see, it's a different photo, which means it's a different reality.
So the timeline split as you go back in time. Is that
They already exist, but you experience it as a split, yes.
So we can never go back to the 10-year-old because we weren't there
Not
to begin
the
with.
same 10-year-old,
Right.
because the 10-year-old is the 10-year-old that experienced what that 10-year-old experienced, and you weren't there.
So there's a
So what you're doing is you are now entering the history of a different 10-year-old version of yourself. Now you will be a part of that 10-year-old's history. But that 10-year-old has a different 30-year-old future self.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
That gets complicated, though, doesn't it? If you keep
No,
going
it's actually
back,
quite simplifying.
If you
All you
keep-
have to do is look at the photos. 1, 2, 3. Oh, must be 3 different realities. Simple.
So there's an infinite amount of timelines or a set amount?
Infinite. There may be a set amount within a certain framework, but overall it's infinite.
But a time machine can be invented.
A machine can be invented that actually can shift you into different parallel realities in the way that you think of in the classic sci-fi sense. Yes, and in fact, those machines exist in our society. They're called our spaceships.
Right. And will you ever come back to the reality you left? Obviously not, right?
No, you never can. Your own Zen monks know this best. You can't step into the same river twice. The water is always flowing.
Okay. Thank you for visiting our timeline.
You are very welcome. And to you, good day.
I have a question related to what you said before about the fall of 2016.
Yes.
And how we can increase our collective consciousness to face
Everyone, act on your highest excitement to the best you are able with no insistence or assumption on the outcome.
Yeah, it's maybe I would like unpack that question one step. So, if the forces that you're fighting,
Forces that you're fighting? Why are you fighting forces? Why do you have that definition of your experience?
I would say that sometimes I have no way to explain it in this public audience. So
You need to speak up.
Sometimes I feel that things are changing.
Of course they are.
They are changing for worse. So
Yes, everything is coming out on the table. More negativity, more positivity.
Yes.
Understand that as you expand your consciousness, you're not aware of less negativity, you're aware of more negativity because you're becoming more aware of everything. So you're going to see more of the polarity, not less. That doesn't mean it has to affect you. It can affect you less, but you will see more of it because you're expanding your consciousness. Remember, all that is sees all the negativity as well as all the positivity and all the neutrality. Because it is the Trinity. So don't assume that you will stop seeing negativity just because you're expanding your consciousness. You'll see more of it. You will be less affected by it by expanding your consciousness because you will realize it's just a choice like any other choice and you will simply not choose it. Does that help?
yes. Maybe one last question.
Yes.
Are there anything coming up in New York City that is in the fall of 2016 affecting New York City in any ways?
Sometime between this time and the first 3 months of 2017, yes, there is something coming up. That was your last question?
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye. Now everyone's, ooh.
I know. Oh, aren't you going to give us some more hints?
Of course I am, but not now.
Okay. Okay, so we have about 45 minutes left. Can we pull some names? And then I'll do some Ustream questions
Why don't you do some Ustream now?
Okie dokie. Okay, how close are we to having a healing chamber that will cure all illness and even regrow body parts?
You are 50 years past the point where you already had it, but most of you don't know that because you didn't put it all together in a way that was obvious. But you have the technology, you've had it for a long time.
You were not referring to like orgone or...
The idea is to simply understand that in different branches of research, it's already understood that everything has a resonance signature. So if you can either create a countermanding signature or a matching signature, you can either, in a sense, dampen something with a contrary or destructive wave, or enhance something with a reinforcing wave. You've had this technology for a long time.
Okay.
Everything has a signature, so all you need to do is find out what the signature frequency is of diseases.
Isn't that what the Rife machine was doing?
Sort of, but not really as fully as it could be. There's a more efficient way to go about this.
Oh, do tell.
I just did. There's a more efficient way to go about this. I'm not giving you a blueprint at the moment.
Okay, not right now.
No, because, again, This is part of the process of you letting go of the idea that you don't have access to this information when you've had it for quite some time.
What is the likelihood of an economic crash in China this year?
Not as likely as it was 3 months ago.
Oh, that's good. What kind of music on earth do you enjoy? You like to hum?
Why aren't you dancing? Oh, yes. Because we can hear more notes in what you consider to be a single note.
I remember you talking about that their music is so simple because...
Our music.
Yes, your music.
Is so simple to you because we can hear all the interim notes you can't hear. All the interim harmonics you can't hear yet.
And would we consider you simple?
Yes. I am simplicity itself. And because I am simple, I am profound.
You are profound. And I know you like brevity.
Yes. That's my favorite tea.
See, there's all these things you never knew about him. But okay. Can you, let's see. When will the U.S. government give full disclosure?
There is a degree of disclosure that has a high probability of happening between your years of 2020 to 2025. It will be enough to start the ball rolling. The probability right now is about 87% in that time frame.
Now, I know this question has sort of been asked, but not this detailed, so I'm going to go for it.
All right.
What is the chance of an economic collapse in the fall of 2016?
It's hovering around 54% at the moment.
That's better than it was, isn't it?
But that means it might extend into the opening of 2017 and increase the probability there.
Okay.
But it's still in flux.
And are we still going to have a female president?
This seems most probable at the moment.
What cities in the U.S. are set to be cities of light and anchor the new earth?
Obviously, there are some strong contenders for this idea that you are already aware of that you associate strong vortices to, such as Sedona and even New York, and others as well. But we won't go into a list beyond that at the moment.
All right. Somebody else was asking, where exactly is your ship hovering over in Sedona?
The peak of Bell Rock. Dead center.
Woo-hoo-hoo.
All right. Living center.
Someone asked, "How can I strengthen my intuition so I can be more easily pass my exams?"
Everyone, act on your highest excitement to the best of your ability with no insistence or assumption as to the outcome.
And that will make someone more photographically designed.
It will give them the ability to know what they need to know when they need to know it instead of relying on memory, which doesn't really exist anyway.
Okay, so that's really what following your excitement does.
It puts you into the present. It puts you into the state of being that accesses the information that is relevant to the state of being that you're in. We know what we need to know exactly when we need to know it. Not a moment sooner than we need to know it, but not a moment later than we need to know it. It's just there because all information is here and now. And if you simply become the vibrational state that is the equivalent of the information, then you will know what you need to know. Because information, like water and electricity, goes along the path of least resistance and follows the resonance that it matches.
So basically what you're saying is that's the way to have a hyperconductive brain.
Yes. Go into the gamma state. Gamma frequencies.
And that's where you come from, right?
Well, we come from higher. We also embody the epsilon state, which you haven't yet begun to understand. But you're beginning to. But gamma state now can become more common. It's experienced by, again, those that are, as you say, in peak performance, in the zone, loving what they do, deep meditations, go into the gamma state. That aligns you. It makes your brain more hyperconductive, more associative, more accessible and able to access. It synthesizes information more efficiently and produces information more efficiently. Therefore, the gamma state is what will allow you to access what you need when you need it.
So it does seem that the channel's brain also has become more hyperconductive over the years as he's been channeling you.
Well, we are rubbing off on him more and more. And by giving him the state, immersing him in the state of our energy, he is gravitating to it more and more. And it's becoming his own version of that state.
I know that the gamma state is associated with the idea of seeing things from the highest mountaintop.
Yes.
That kind of higher mind perspective. So
anywhere above 40 cycles per second in the brain, all the way up to 100. Now, your species for a while will usually hover around between 40 and 50 cycles per second. When we operate in the gamma state, it is typically in the upper registers, and then we go up into the epsilon state, which is much higher than that, up to, again, the idea of 333 cycles per second in the brain, matching the frequency of the 333,000 cycle per second of the border between physical and non-physical reality as a harmonic of it.
So like when you're channeling right now, what kind of frequency level are you talking about?
Right now, there is a frequency of about between 50 and 60 cycles per second in the gamma range, so about mid-range.
So when you tell someone their frequency is running
That's
around,
a different thing.
Okay, what is
When we
the
talk about
difference?
the idea of saying, oh, someone's frequency on average is about 140,000 cycles per second, we're talking about a subharmonic of the frequency at which the reality is being created. In other words, the reality that you experience is being created, as we said, billions of times per second. The tick of the clock, if you want to put it that way, is what you scientifically refer to as the Planck time. So this happens billions of times per second. But the frequencies that we're telling you that we perceive happening within you are usually subharmonics in relation to that frequency that are relevant for experiencing a physical reality. Above 333,000 cycles per second, you would experience non-physical reality. Our civilization on average usually operates in the 300,000 cycle range, whereas your civilization at this time on average is operating somewhere around 144,000 cycles per second.
So in relation to that 144,000 cycles per second,
Yes.
how could we interpret what you're saying to us in terms of the frequency level instead of the
We would have to
subharmonic?
explain the entire science to you,
Really?
and then you would understand.
But you can't like just give us a number that is representative of the cycles per second in relation to how you've said it to other people in terms of experiencing your energy. I think the reason I'm honing in on that is that we've heard many different numbers. I know there have been people that have shifted all the way to like 225,000 cycles per
From
second.
time to time, yes.
Yeah. So like when we're sitting here listening to you,
Yes.
the frequency that you're expressing is how-
Usually around 250,000 cycles per second.
Okay.
But you don't always come up to that.
Because we don't match it. So we might only experience your message at 180,000 cycles
Correct.
per second.
Which means you're actually missing information that we're sending to you. This is one of the reasons why many times when a recording is made of information that we may be sharing with someone and they listen to it once and then they listen to it again, they often say, I heard things the second time I didn't hear the first time, that I swear weren't there, answered questions that I didn't even ask until now, because you're getting a holographic, multidimensional message that you may not be in a frequency to hear until later.
So the beauty of that is that the way the universe works is, depending on your frequency level, you receive different information from the exact same image or the exact same thing that is...
In the way that you mean that, yes.
Yes. So, for example, you could look at the table, the periodic table.
Yes.
And on our level, when we look at that, we're seeing a certain level of information.
Yes.
If your frequency is a lot higher, you will actually
Yes.
see other levels of the periodic table.
Absolutely.
That is information that's not commonly available, right?
Absolutely. For example, if we looked at your periodic table element that you would call gold, we would see the gold, but we would also see what we could loosely term paragold, something on another level, a color that you can't even imagine, an element that you can't even imagine.
So it sounds like your delivery of information coming through Daryl with a lot of the gamma frequencies associated was determined as the rate that his brain could handle and also would be most relatable to people that are listening to you at this current
Yes,
time.
it's what we refer to in the first contact protocols as the bridge frequency, that which is most conducive to making the link and allowing for processing to occur between our different reality states.
Is there anything you can think of, like a symbol or something like that, that we interpret in one way, but from your level? So tell us about that.
The crossing point is where we meet.
So when we see that, we see you moving your finger back and forth, and
Yes.
we see an infinity sign.
Yes.
And
we are actually describing the vibrational structure of the bridge frequency.
right now in what you're doing.
Yes.
So not only if we raised our frequency, we might be able to receive more information
Exactly.
from what you're doing
Because
right
we are now making visible an actual electromagnetic pulse that is coming from us to you. This is the waveform. It's an infinity waveform.
So in this process of following your excitement, when negative issues come up,
Yes.
and or if you're hearing negative stories or things like that within
Yes.
your own psyche.
Yes. How can I use this in a positive way? How can I develop a positive definition and perspective of this that I do not prefer in a way that I can extract a positive and beneficial effect in my life? Is the response.
And so I know that New York has had their share of experiences,
Yes.
and certainly 9/11 was a really big experience.
Yes.
How can they perceive 9/11
Yes.
in a way that is described just as you just
Did you build another tower?
Yes.
Well, that's a response, isn't it? But a
And-
single one, fused into one geometric understanding that this and this has made us stronger. Do you understand?
Yes.
Two into one. Faceted like a crystal that channels energy in a very different way than the two previous buildings and does honor with the water to all the lives that were involved and all the spirits that are still involved in guiding and co-creating with all of you how to turn this and this into this. Duality, polarity into trinity, the balance point. And you yourselves have the symbolism, yes, of independence and freedom in it, because it is how tall? 1,776 feet? 1776? It's a symbol of your collective consciousness coming together to respond in a positive way.
It's really beautiful. Thank you. You know, that's a great message, especially for the folks here and everything they've experienced.
Yes.
And speaking of symbols,
yes,
a question came about what is the meaning behind the symbols on your family crest?
Again, it is the symbol of the triune understanding of connection and creation, the balance point, and the active principle of the spiral, that we spiral out, and as we connect and keep spiraling out, we expand, we grow, we become a larger family. We go in the three directions of the Trinity and create a balance with every contact that we make that expands us as a family. That's the meaning of the crest.
Beautiful.
Does that help you?
It does. And we have about 15 minutes left, so can I draw some more names?
You may draw one.
Okay. Lisa Sandner. Thank you, Tadeo.
Thank you, Nania.
Bashar.
And you good day.
Oh, I'm so excited to be here. And I want to make a statement now,
Yes.
like about my freedom. I am free. And I would like to ask you about how to approach the expansion of my freedom being an illegal person in this country at this moment.
You want to know how to approach an expression and expansion of your freedom?
Yes.
Have you been paying attention?
Yes. Follow my excitement to the best of my ability, and I am doing this.
Most of you conveniently leave that third part out.
Okay, without any expectation of the outcome. That's
it.
Okay.
I said it was a complete kit, didn't I?
Yes.
Leaves nothing out, right?
Yes.
Nothing relevant out. The expression and expansion of your freedom would be a relevant component of your excitement, yes?
Yes.
So it will not leave that out. You simply have to trust the way your life will unfold synchronistically when you're in that state and act from that state in all that you do.
Okay.
You will be led where you need to be led by the guiding principle.
Okay.
It's that simple. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't overthink it.
Okay.
Does that help?
Yes.
And?
And if my excitement is to continue to live in this country,
Yes.
close to my kids, close to my family, to my friends.
No insistence.
Okay.
Your excitement is to express yourself however you are able to express yourself, however you are able to act on things. If you're not able, you're not able. Act on the next thing you're able to do that represents your highest excitement that you can do something about. No insistence on a particular outcome. All you need to know is whatever the outcome is will serve everyone the best according to the collective definition of your excitement and what it needs to contain that's relevant in your life as expressions of it.
Okay. That's great.
You don't need to arrange things. They're already arranged. Just allow them to reveal themselves to you in the arrangement that actually serves everyone best.
Okay. That's great. And I would like to ask you about my hybrid children. I have this connection with these amazing children.
Yes.
And I would like to see if you can say something about it.
Are you in any way, shape, or form artistic?
Yes.
In what way do you express yourself artistically?
In a lot of ways, like writing, painting.
Have you painted them? Have you written about them?
Not yet. I'm in the
Why
process.
not? They say, what are you waiting for?
Yes.
What are you waiting for?
Nothing. I'm ready. I'm going to do it
Thank you.
today.
then that will form a stronger bond because you will be creating permission slip symbols that represent that bond between you, and you can start picking up more sensitively on communication. Yes?
Oh, that's amazing. And like in the last 15 days when it was the full moon, I was outside looking at the moon. I taken some pictures.
Yes.
And after taking one of the pictures, I see this huge light.
Yes.
And then I saw the picture, and it was like 4 points, little points, different colors, blue, red, white, and green.
Yes.
Can you tell me something about that experience I had?
Nope. Not at this time.
Okay.
That's not our job. Someone else will give you the information that you need.
Okay. Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much.
Oh, we have a little more time. Can I book another number? Another name? Pretty please with sugar on top.
We do not eat sugar. Thank you. Pick one more.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak to you.
Speak up, speak up.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak to you.
Thank you for co-creating it. Good day to you.
I would like to know more about world peace in our world.
Yes.
Is it achievable in my lifetime?
Have you heard anything we've said today?
Yes.
You never change the world you're on. You change yourself and shift to a parallel version of Earth or a series of them that are more and more and more and more representative of the change you've made within yourself. So the question is peace possible within you?
Yes.
There you go. You will then continue to experience the idea of things that might seem contrary to that around you for a while, but by giving off the vibration of peace, by acting on your highest excitement and being a living example of living in that peaceful state, will you give those around you an opportunity to change themselves as well by seeing you as an example? So, is that something that's possible?
Yes.
Then you've answered your own question.
Thank you.
Is that it?
Do you have any other message for me?
If I did, I would tell you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Bashar.
And a you good day.
My question is, what's your take on doppelgangers?
Depends on how you mean that, because there are many ways to interpret the idea of a doppelganger. It can be a counterpart, can be many different things.
Like another person who looks exactly like you.
Yes.
And,
So,
and
how is that a reflection
personality-wise,
for you? How do you use that reflection?
like a
Is really
mirror.
the answer.
A mirror, perhaps. A mirror, perhaps.
All right, and what do you get out of seeing that reflection? How does it help you define yourself more clearly?
A mirror.
How does it help you define yourself more
Seeing
clearly?
yourself from another perspective.
All right.
Okay.
And does that help clarify who you prefer to be?
I suppose, yes.
All right. So that's one way you can use the concept of doppelganger.
Okay.
Anything else?
Soulmates, soul groups, soul families.
These things can exist, although you have some definitions of some of these things that are a little bit old-fashioned. A soulmate can be anyone who is a reflection for you that helps you become more of yourself. A soulmate can even be someone that you would consider to be an enemy if they teach you something about yourself that you need to learn.
Wow.
So, again, it depends on how those arrangements are made and what you're getting out of having that kind of reflective relationship.
Sweet.
So yes, there can be soul families, soul groups, yes. Just like you have friends that you hang with in that sense, on that level of spirit and soul, there can also be those familial connections, in a sense, at least vibrationally.
Wow.
Anything else?
No.
Is that it?
Thank you.
Thank you. Nania, you may now take a short break.
Okay.
And we will resume this transmission for your holotope meditation to crystallize in the ideas that we have shared this day. Take a short break. But it'll say, let us continue this transmission by allowing each and every one of you to become very relaxed. Let go of the cares of the day. Just let them melt away. Let your body relax and begin to breathe deeply as your lights go down, the holotope lights come up, and your music drifts through the air. And allow yourself to focus your eyes on the center of the holotope. And understand that this day, this permission slip, has been designed to take advantage of the collective consciousness of your entire world, so that each and every one of you can allow some part of your belief system to align with this particular reflection as if it is a mirror of the greater self, revealing to you all the different aspects and all the different components of your consciousness. And as we spoke of the different protocols of first contact and the existence of the precursors among you, allow yourself to gaze upon the holotope and see from the outer edge into the center, following all the spiraling lines of energy and information that may pass by and through you and near you in life, giving off their frequency as they take step after step after step from the outer edges of reality, closer and closer to the inner core of yours, approaching that center point, that balance point, where we may all begin one day to interact more openly and more freely. Just allow yourself to imagine and impose that imagination of that day of contact upon the holotope, looking at all the different aspects of it as footsteps toward a greater reality that goes deeper and deeper into the center of your being, even as your consciousness expands farther and farther outward into the cosmos, into infinity. Allow yourselves to take a deep breath in and let it out. And continue to focus on the holotope and the center point of its reflections and all the information that it contains as you take another deep breath in. Let it out. And continue to see the spiraling paths as reflections of connections that you have to all different aspects of your reality, including all the parallel incarnations that you need to connect to at this time, to draw upon in information and energy to guide you on this path. And take another deep breath in and hold it, and hold it, and hold it, and blow it out. And allow that vibration to fill the atmosphere and immerse you in this new frequency that surrounds you now. And continue to breathe easily, gently, and deeply as you focus again on the holotope, the ever-changing patterns of color and light that bring information and communication into the neurological net of your physical persona. And allow those colors, that warmth, coolness, energy, light, love, creativity, to just flow along all the different neurological paths in your body, to seek out exactly where they belong automatically, to fall into the proper slots exactly as they need to, when they need to, how they need to, and why they need to. Allow yourselves now to look at the holotope as if you are looking down from a great height on the plan of a spiraling city that stretches out from the center. And allow yourself to imagine all the coming to and fro, and the steps being taken through that city, on that path, on that world. Whether you see it as just a city or the whole planet matters not. But see the precursors walking, following path, passing by you, tracing their footsteps as they flow from person to person, sowing seeds, the seeds of contact, gauging responses, absorbing and observing all the information and energy that you give off as they pass you by, for that momentary amplification of your energy as it perceives and connects to theirs, as they flow by you and allow you to sit and ponder what you just experienced by their presence, what it brings up within you, what it allows you to investigate about your own ideas, your own beliefs, your own understanding. And see that pattern, that city pattern, that global pattern stretching out into the cosmos. The lines of light and the lines of connection to all the stars of the galactic family to which you belong. And you begin to allow these patterns to crystallize within your consciousness, so that you can know that these connections exist within you all the time. Whether they be visible or invisible matters not. They are all within you and represent all the different pathways that you have of connecting to whatever you need to connect to whatever you need to respond to open you up, to allow you to explore more and more deeply that which you are, and reveal more and more fully that which you are, and feel more fully the purpose of being yourself as best as you can. Allow yourself to float freely in this experience, continuing to breathe gently, allowing yourself to relax, and allowing everything in that you need in life. For you don't have to make it happen. You just have to respond. Just respond in the way that you would prefer to. Positive definition, positive relationship. And allow your life to unfold in synchronous and magical ways. Allow it to be the guiding principle that will lead you on the path of least resistance. Allow yourself to follow the current that will flow you freely down the river, cosmic consciousness, to the center of your being, to explore your spirit, your soul, your higher mind, your oversoul, the collective consciousness of all levels of reality and all that is. That is your source. Your alpha and your omega, your beginning and your end, your circle without end, your circle without beginning. And all concepts that are relevant for you shall open like flowers in a garden, painting a beautiful, colorful picture. See these patterns now as a garden of cosmic flowers releasing, opening, seeding you with information and energy and ideas, allowing you to become more and more excited about what you may find on any given day, what you may discover as you explore more deeply into yourselves, and allow the city around you and the people around you to be a reflective, symbolic metaphor that you need to see synchronistically, to give you the information you need, to show you the next step along the path, to reveal it to you effortlessly, easily, joyfully, playful, beautiful. Allow yourselves to take a deep breath in and make this truth your own. And let it out. Allow yourselves to take a deep breath in and make this truth your own. Let it out. Allow yourselves to take a deep breath in and hold it. And hold it. Hold it, and then no longer hold on to anything and blow it out. Release it. Surrender it. Surrender to the control you already have, that is already part and parcel of who you are, as an aspect and a reflection of creation itself, of all that is. Be your own precursor, leading the way, touching in, giving you what you need, allowing you to respond as you prefer to respond, as you choose to respond, allowing you to know more and more of who you are. And that this reality that you have believed for so long that you were living in, you now begin to realize is simply living within you. That you contain it all. It is all within. There is nothing outside but the reflection of what is within. Allow yourselves to drift and dream in this truth, and allow yourselves, as you gaze upon the holotope, to allow it to grant you the ability to give yourself permission to flow more easily through life, through every circumstance and situation, more calmly, responding instead of reacting, taking a moment, pausing, and understanding and remembering that all things are fundamentally neutral, devoid of any built-in meaning. It is up to you, your responsibility to yourself, to give the meaning that you prefer, to give the meaning that is true for you, to define it in ways that work for you. Capture this and crystallize it for yourself with every breath, with every heartbeat, with every thought, with every feeling, with every action. Crystallize this truth for yourself in your own way, according to your imagination, and the communication with your higher mind. Make it your own. Adapt it in whatever way you need. It is yours to choose. Allow yourself now to drift and dream more lucidly in life, seeing things more clearly. Allow yourself to look, to really hear, to really pay attention, to really listen, to really see what is going on. As you allow yourselves to continue to breathe, allow your music to soften, allow your lights to dim, allow yourselves to remain in darkness, in the unknown, in the unfathomable void which contains more and more and more of the you will discover over time. A timeless world. Feel the unconditional support and unconditional love of all that is as it carries you along these currents on which you float gently, easily, effortlessly, loving. Allow yourself to simply sit and dream, sit and be, and be at peace. Continue to breathe. Continue to breathe. Be gentle with yourselves and be gentle with each other. Be kind in all things and be aware. Be at peace. Our unconditional love to you all. And welcome home. Welcome home. Welcome